Pirates Fire Dragon Roar Chapter 181-200. Chapter 181 Vulcan. Golden Lion is a master of swordsmanship. This is known to the world. If this man didn't think he was a swordsman, maybe he would have won the position of the world's greatest swordsman. A lot of things agree that this is the case. However, Golden Lion himself is disdainful of the position of the number one swordsman. For Golden Lion, there is only one thing that is truly worth his struggle, and that is to rule the world. The number one swordsman is of no use to him at all. Swordsmanship is just a tool for him. As long as he can achieve his goal and defeat the enemy, it doesn't matter whether it is swordsmanship or spearmanship. Golden Lion only cares about it. Result: the process doesn't matter at all. However, swordsmanship is the most effective attack method for Golden Lion, so naturally, Golden Lion will naturally rely on such means. That is, he will constantly exercise his swordsmanship. His swordsmanship is unquestionably strong. Vlad is experiencing this firsthand. PFF'd. With this poignant knife light, a blood spurted out. Hey, weren't you arrogant just now? Boy. Golden Lion swiped the sword heavily in his right hand, and the pitch-black hockey wrapped around the sword's edge, directly piercing the double defense of Vlad hockey and the dragon scales, adding a deep scar on Vlad's chest. Holding the sword with the hand and the Golden Lion holding the sword with the foot are completely two people. The strength is terrifying, there is no doubt about this at all, even if the sword has been used with the foot for 20 years, but the stronger is no doubt. There is no doubt that both hands are used, which is the same for swordsmen. After all, hands are always more flexible than feet, not to mention, Golden Lion has no feet, only two thighs, it is even more inflexible. Of course, swordsmen must use their hands to use their swords. Vlad has always been very strange. Even if he lost his legs, why did Golden Lion put his sword on his legs? He is the power of fluttering fruit. Does having feet make any essential difference to him? Not at all. Maybe it's just because of the simple loss of both legs, so you want to find something to replace. Perhaps it was because of such a blow that his ambition was wiped out, and he made such a stupid thing as spending 20 years researching what kind of bullshit beast. But now Vlad has no time to think about these things. Now Vlad has been completely suppressed by the Golden Lion. The terrifying, amazing swordsmanship, the Golden Lion holding the sword in his hand is completely like a different person. The depressive aura that Vlad had been knocked away one after another has disappeared, and some are just sharper and sharper. And the increasingly powerful armament hockey. Just like Vlad hoped to make himself stronger by fighting Golden Lion, fighting with Vlad constantly, Golden Lion's body that had been fighting for a long time began to gradually adapt to the fierce battle. Hockey's the intensity also began to gradually keep up with the rhythm, and Vlad gradually began to have wounds on his body. PFF'd. Another wound blooms. The two swords in Golden Lion's hands are like the extension of his two arms, like fingers, and when fighting in close quarters, Vlad can't lift his head, and every slash is a powerful force. The speed has reached the point where Vlad is a little difficult to react. As long as he is not careful, he will have a hole in his body. To make matters worse, with the powerful mobility provided by the fluttering fruit, Vlad didn't even have a chance to open up the distance, and could only use his own body to fight the Golden Lion with the knife. Bang! The flames are flying everywhere. Vlad slammed the Golden Lion with a heavy punch, and the high temperature of the platinum fire wrapped around his hand has distorted the air. When Golden Lion didn't mess up at all, and the famous knife in his right hand withered wood didn't hesitate at this critical moment, directly blocking Vlad's fist. The huge sound is accompanied by extremely scorching temperature. Cut. Golden Lion was not feeling well. His right hand holding the knife trembled, the tiger's mouth was bloody, and the blood evaporated directly under the high temperature, but the punch was finally blocked. Vlad's fist is not easy to block. The power that Vlad shows is unmatched. With that terrifying flame, although it is suppressing Vlad now, Golden Lion is actually not feeling well. Is that what you are, kid? Although he is not very easy, but the mouth cannons that should be released still have to be released. Golden Lion laughed loudly. Gia ha 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 ha. Wasn't it very arrogant just now? Why don't you talk now? Golden Lion's spare left hand crossed a poignant arc from top to bottom, bringing a beautiful light to Vlad's shoulder and chopped it down. Well. Golden Lion was surprised for a while. Vlad raised his right arm directly in front of his sword, and there was a sudden explosion in the air. Woo! Vlad exhaled slowly. Observation hockey finally caught the Golden Lion's attack. It turned out that armament's arm was able to block the Golden Lion's sword, although it was cut in by an inch, but it didn't matter. Dragon Fist, Meteor Kick. Vlad's right foot was blazing with fiery white light. The meteor spear was an extremely condensed platinum fire, and it even felt a little materialized, but what would happen if the flames condensed on his leg? Golden Lion knows that right now. Golden Lion's field of vision was completely occupied by white light, and after that, the most fiery flame erupted. Boom! A terrifying explosion roared in the sky. The terrifying flames instantly swept the surrounding airspace, and the oxygen in this area was instantly exhausted, forming an artificial hypoxic environment. Woo! A ball of fire shot out from the raging flames, and instantly distanced itself from the explosion area. The flames wrapped around the body gradually dissipated, revealing the big mouth gasping for breath and trembling, and the body was charred and faint. Here comes the Golden Lion with a wonderful fragrance. What a terrifying trick! Golden Lion breathed heavily and said, "But, kid." Golden Lion looked at the dead wood of the famous sword in his right hand. The body of the sword was red, and it even seemed to be slightly melted. There was a clear footprint on it. Fortunately, he blocked the blow just now. Was directly kicked. Serious injury is inevitable. Golden Lion looked at Vlad, who was gradually revealing his figure, and sneered, "You are not feeling well." Golden Lion is right. The explosion is not the same as the flame, but it does not distinguish between enemy and foe. Vlad's right leg is a little twisted, and it is very numb. That's a pity, boy. Golden Lion smiled. Aren't you upset that you paid such a high price and still haven't solved me? Unhappy. Vlad smiled. The flames gradually emerged from his body and began to wrap around him. Don't make a mistake, senior. I've never killed your mind with that one trick. I am. Vlad smiled, just to get a little distance from you, and then I can use the next trick. Take a good look. Senior. This Vulcan gesture. Yanwei Wushan, Zhu Rong. Chapter 182 Zhu Rong burst. The flames were surging. Above the sea of clouds at a height of 10,000 meters, the platinum flames gushed out wildly. With Vlad as the center, the super-huge fireball appeared out of thin air in this sky. X23 US. Com updates fastest. Su. When the flame rapidly expanded to a limit, it suddenly stopped, and then suddenly began to shrink, and the huge flame ball collapsed in the middle as if it had been out of breath. Chi-chi-chi. The sound of the high temperature scorching the air sounded very infiltrating, and the dazzling white light even made the Golden Lion in the distance unable to open his eyes. When the small fireball came, the temperature had already reached the point where even the Golden Lion would feel the scalding temperature even if it was a few hundred meters away. As for the brightness, it was completely worthy of the name of the small sun, and the brilliance of the real sun had been covered up. Hey, that's true. The smile on the corner of Golden Lion's mouth was a little bitter. This kind of trick is incredible. Crackling. A hand stretched out from the fireball. It was obviously a fireball composed of flames, but now it seemed to exist as an entity. An obvious crack appeared on the sphere, and then it became bigger and bigger, like an eggshell. No, it should be said that it is like a dragon egg, and the cracks quickly fill the entire sphere. With a crack sound, the whole sphere shattered. There. The shattered sphere did not dissipate like this, but turned into a sky-filled flame and spread backward. It's been so long. Vlad said, Yanwei Wushan, Zhu Rong, Vulcan form. Please advise me. At this moment, Vlad is unprecedentedly confident. Originally covered with fiery red dragon scales, Vlad, who is a red dragon man, has now completely changed its color, just like the white gold of his flames, but his body shape has not changed much. How tall should he be? How high? The bigger change is not in the body shape. The white gold body is surrounded by beautiful lines, and the dark and glowing color is around the chest, on the face, and on the arms and thighs. The short black hair was completely invisible, and only the hair of long flames floated behind the back and kept tumbling in the wind. What's even more amazing is that the wings on his back are not just a pair anymore. Vlad suddenly has a pair of wings behind his back, which flaps up and down, making him levitate above the sky. A white ring emitting a soft white light was suspended behind Vlad's back. It was not small. It was a little bigger than Vlad's upper body. The flames that had turned into eggshells quickly moved towards this. The rings converge and are then absorbed by this ring. White on the body that has reached the limit, and VV's somewhat transparent flames are lingering, and it looks like the whole person has a substantial airwave released. With a white body, 2 pairs of wings, and a halo behind him, Vlad at this moment is like a legendary angel. This is Yanwei Wuxian, Zhu Rong, Vlad's Vulcan form. Senior. Vlad's voice sounded strange, with a weird twist, and a crystal-like thing that looked somewhat transparent was inlaid on his forehead. This person seemed to be carved out of precious metals and gems. Extremely. Now, the battle is really just beginning. Jia ha 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 ha. Golden Lion laughed loudly. Boy, use what you can. I won't be fooled by you. I can't feel the temperature at all. What's going on? Although he doesn't care much, Golden Lion is actually very vigilant. He has regarded Vlad as an opponent who can fight on an equal footing with himself. Since he is already a recognized opponent, then there is absolutely no reason to not be serious. There is no exaggeration to be vigilant in battle. I don't see any difference at all except for the appearance. What the hell is going on with this kid? Golden Lion thought so. From Golden Lion's point of view, the current Vlad is completely different from the previous performance. The lingering flames are gone, and the terrifying temperature that goes with him is also gone. What's going on? Well, Senior, let's you take a look. Vlad twisted his neck and smiled. Vulcan Zhurong, this is the most extreme violence. Really? Golden Lion clenched his swords tightly and stood ready. Then. Come on. Vlad chuckled, clenching his right fist. Bang. The huge fist was directly printed on Golden Lion's chest. Crack. Golden Lion's body was bent into the shape of a shrimp, and Vlad's fist was directly and deeply imprinted into his chest. Golden Lion's mind was blank, and he temporarily lost his ability to think because of Vlad's punch. Boom. A huge explosion slammed into flames, and from where Vlad hit Golden Lion's fist, an amazing explosion happened directly. Hey! The Golden Lion let out a miserable cry, and was directly blasted into the air. The whistling wind whistled in his ears. The old man only felt numb in his chest and lost consciousness. Senior. A strange voice sounded in his ears. Don't go too fast. I almost missed it. Boom. Suddenly, there was another heavy blow on the back, and the Golden Lion spurted out another mouthful of blood, and the direction of the flight changed instantly. Ah ha ha ha, it's not over yet. Vlad's 2 pairs of wings, VV flapped, and the whole person actually appeared above the high-speed Golden Lion, with VV's smile on his white face. EURA. Vlad turned around, and his sturdy right leg whistled and swept over. Golden Lion's pupils shrank again, and the 2 swords in his hand hurriedly lifted up, and armament hockey wound up, trying to stop Vlad's blow. However, the speed and strength of Vlad in Vulcan form showed an explosive increase, and Vlad's attack did not leave him any chance to dodge and counterattack at all. Boom. The terrifying explosion appeared again. Vlad's whip leg slammed heavily on the belly of Golden Lion, and the raging flames roared out from Vlad's legs, sweeping the Golden Lion instantly. Whoosh. A figure flew out far away. Oh oh oh. Vlad stopped in place and put his hand on the pergola. His tone was very strange. How can you fly so far? Is this the goal? Sure enough, it's a senior. Vlad put his arms around his chest and smiled. The keen observation hockey had completely captured the movements of the golden lion. Even after being hit by such heavy 2 blows, you can still move so swiftly. This blood volume is really not covered. That's right, isn't blood thickness the most basic condition for being a strong person? Well, that means there's still something to play. Vlad smiled, the 2 pairs of wings behind Vivi flapping. Hey! His figure had disappeared from the air. Whoa! A storm blew up after that. Chapter 183 The Symphony of Kings. Yanwei Wuxian, Zhu Rong can be said to be one of Vlad's tricks to press the bottom of the box. It has been developed a long time ago. I know that a few months ago, the trick was officially completed on the eve of landing on Sky Island. Chang is completely worthy of Vlad's long development period. Inspired by Luffy's 4th gear, the 4th gear is to achieve Elastic Man's mode by blowing air into the muscles and strengthening the fruit through hockey. Vlad was very envious of this kind of trick, so after getting the Fire Dragon fruit, he also began to think that he could also come up with a similar transformation trick. After all, transformation always feels very handsome. The dragon fruit did not give Vlad the ability to extend his body, but it gave him the ability to ignore and manipulate flames. Vlad was like, can he work hard from here? So the initial prototype of Zhu Rong's trick is also there. Vlad does not have the elasticity and ductility of rubber fruit, but Vlad's flame has a stronger explosive power, there is no doubt. Even better, the flame itself does no harm to Vlad. This is true even at the muscle level. Although Vlad can generate flames, there is actually no flame in his body. The flame is produced by dragon scales and muscles, so it can be released, but it is not composed of flames like burning fruit. In other words, what would happen if flames were introduced into the body? The flame wraps around the muscles, so that the muscles that have only one part of the force can explode with great force. Strengthening the strength of the muscles through hockey can alleviate the damage to the muscles caused by the explosion of the flame. It's doable. Vlad can do such a thing, so there is the original blueprint of the current Yanwei Wuxian, Zhu Rong, and later after some modifications and enhancements, the current Vulcan mode is completed. Vlad is very confident. With the terrifying power of the Vulcan form now, he has dared to wrestle with the 4 Emperors Admiral. Although he can't win, there is no doubt that he has the power to fight head-on. Vlad is now stronger than ever. Dash 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 dash. Hey, what is that? Even from a distance, you can see the huge fireball in the sky. On the platinum, Drager, which is gradually moving away, the maid exclaimed, is that the captain's trick? It's as daring as ever. The chef smiled. Mr. Captain is really good. The musician laughed happily, the most powerful man in the world is Mr. Captain, right? Isn't it right, Mr. God? Cut. Enno looked at the huge fireball in the sky in the distance, and a painful memory emerged in his heart. This god will defeat him sooner or later and regain his position as a god. Gu dong dong. Well. Chef smiled, it's still after you quit drinking. Quit drinking. Enno's face suddenly became very wonderful. Dash 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 dash. Hey, what's the situation? Why are there 2 suns in the sky? What's the matter? On a warship, Marine soldiers looked at the 2 suns hanging in the sky with a confused expression. What's the matter? Is there something in the sky? The man in the coat of justice stood on the bow, a little overwhelmed. Forget it, let's report to the superior first. The man took out the phone bug. Blue blue blue. Quote. The phone bug's mouth suddenly pouted, his eyes turned into sunglasses, and his voice was very obscene. Mosamoxi. Dash 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 dash. Oh, senior. Vlad floated slowly in the air, smiling happily. It's really durable, can you still fight like this? The golden lion was suspended in front of Vlad, his mouth was full of blood, and there was a clearly visible fist mark on his chest. The surrounding was scorched black, not the black before, but a black that was really almost scorched. Needless to say, the stomach that kicked in, the muscles have been completely exposed, and the same has shown a state of carbonization. But Golden Lion still stood up straight. No, it should be said that his body was upright, as if he had never been injured at all. This is an old man who still refused to bow his head even though he was severely injured. Gia ha 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 ha. That's enough. Boy. Golden Lion laughed loudly. I'm still a little itchy when I beat him. Hey, does the little itch that Golden Lion Senpai said refers to the state that is about to be scorched right now? Vlad smiled. It's a tough mouth. Then, Senior, what do you think is pain and injury? Pain. Gia ha 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 ha. Boy, don't think too much. Golden Lion laughed wildly, as if something was brewing in his body. Pirate. How could I feel pain? Ha, Senior, it's funny. Vlad smiled. Lion might, 1,000 cuts a valley. Golden Lion laughed loudly, and waved his hand down fiercely, and a terrifying chopper roared out. Well. Vlad Vivi was a little surprised. The Golden Lion's chop this time was completely different from the previous one. As the distance increased, the chop that could chop off an island had swelled to almost 5 times. Undoubtedly terrifying slash. Is it the wind? Vlad noticed that Golden Lion's slash was completely different, with the back boost from the wind, which continuously strengthened the blow. But what's the use of it? Vlad smiled. All the attacks that could not hit people were useless and meaningless. Compared to Vlad's speed, such long-range slashes were useless. Well. Vlad Vivi fluttered his wings, and then he felt that something was wrong. The air seemed to freeze. Not to mention high-speed flight, it is not easy to move now. What's more interesting is that it is a little difficult to breathe now. This is. Vlad suddenly looked at the Golden Lion in the distance. Piao piao fruit, can you do such a thing? It was the air, there was no doubt that it was the effect of the air. The Golden Lion's ability affected the air and gathered a large amount of air, which had achieved the purpose of preventing Vlad from moving quickly. Should it be the Golden Lion? Kang. The huge mountain-like slash directly hit Vlad's body, without the slightest evasion. Vlad just paused a little, and the slash hit Vlad like lightning. Whoosh. Hey. This time, it was Vlad who was sent flying. The Golden Lion's slash is really hard to resist. Even the terrifying defense attached to Haki in Vlad Vulcan mode was deeply drawn. The scars, from the left shoulder to the right waist, can be faintly bloody. Gia ha 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 ha, little devil. Golden Lion kept swinging his sword, and chopped one after another like waves toward Vlad. Quote. Woo ha 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 ha. That's how it is. Vlad's 2 pairs of wings shook violently, and his body that flew upside down suddenly stabilized. Laughing loudly, his body disappeared instantly, and once again entered a high-speed state that was hard to see with the naked eye. Golden Lion was actually able to dominate the air. Vlad, only then did I notice this. I was stubbornly slapped by Golden Lion before, and was stabbed, but as long as Vlad maintained a high speed, Golden Lion certainly had no chance to gather the air to hinder him. When a chirping sound resounded through the sky from between Vlad's iron fist and Golden Lion's famous sword. Boom. A huge explosion followed. When. Boom. When. Boom. The Golden Lion is not a little bit stronger than the beginning. There is a qualitative gap compared to just now. The heavier the injury, the stronger the combat effectiveness, the faster the reaction, the stronger the strength, and the stronger the Haki. What a great opponent. The two are fighting fiercely. At an altitude of 10,000 meters with no one, 2 men bet everything in a life-and-death confrontation. Vlad was very fast, but the speed of Golden Lion's sword was not slow, and the air was blocking Vlad, and the 2 sides actually fought back and forth. Boy! Is my knife still fast? Golden Lion's knife made a shallow mark on Vlad's chest and laughed. Bang! Scoff! Vlad smashed Golden Lion's face with a punch, and there was no explosion. Even with armament hockey, who was gradually getting stronger across Golden Lion, the terrifying temperature still burned Golden Lion's face with a screeching sound. There are already faint signs of burning. Although Vlad's flame can't be attached to armament and burn, the high temperature can't be stopped. How do you think it's me who has the advantage, Senior? Vlad laughed. Yes, even if Golden Lion's attack can hit, the damage caused is very low, and it can break Vlad's skin. On the other hand, Golden Lion, every time Vlad hits him with one punch, a dark scorched mark will appear on his body. PFF'd. Soon as Vlad's words were put down, a knife-like gecko flashed, and blood spurted out. Boy! Golden Lion laughed, and the terrifying aura finally spewed out of his body again. I am a Golden Lion. Hockey of Conqueror. Quote. Woo. That's right, that's it. Golden Lion. Vlad didn't care about his injuries at all. Golden Lion was right. For the pirates, there was no pain. You are worthy of being my fire dragon, Vlad's opponent. The same horror, the same amazing, the aura of swallowing the world roared out of Vlad's body. Not long way. Hockey of Conqueror. Fight against each other, never give in. This is a confrontation between two men. Above the sky, the Symphony of Kings. Chapter 184 Hephaestus. A purple-black arc flashes in the air. Conqueror hockey, the qualification of a king among millions of people, is a rare ability even in the New World, an ability only possessed by the overlords on the sea, although the known conqueror does not increase the strength very much. But there is no doubt that he has the courage to believe, and only those who have the courage to be subservient are qualified to be conquerors. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt that the Golden Lion was the top pirate in the sea 20 years ago, a well-deserved tyrant of the sea, and a powerhouse feared by the world. If such a guy didn't have a conqueror, he would be laughing to death. As for Vlad, it wouldn't be a surprise to have a conqueror for the guy who's been on his way to becoming the One Piece king of pirates and never looked back, though it wasn't before. This is also very normal. I didn't wake up when I was in the Big Mom pirate group, but that doesn't mean I couldn't wake up after I left. Isn't this a matter of course? After there is no guy who can suppress him. Vlad jumps on the sea, can do whatever he wants, and it is not strange to be able to awaken the conqueror. Today, under the impact of Golden Lion's conqueror hockey, Vlad finally awakened his own conqueror hockey, instead of pretending to be the real conqueror hockey as he used to use Longway as before. Gia ha 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 ha. How beautiful, boy. Golden Lion laughed loudly. How can you wake up at this time? Your conqueror. Armament, which is more powerful from the Golden Lion, the already sharp and unusually famous sword slashed towards Vlad with a gust of wind. When Vlad smashed directly on the blade of Golden Lion's famous sword Deadwood. The moment his hard fist came into contact with the blade, a terrifying high temperature erupted. Even if it was wrapped in hockey, the blade of Deadwood was a little twisted. Thank you, Senior, for this. Golden Lion's ribs with a whip leg. Gia ha 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 ha, is that how you thank me? Golden Lion twisted abruptly, dodged Vlad's whip, and stabbed straight into Vlad's stomach. PFF'd. Blood splatters. Damn. Golden Lion didn't feel any joy after he succeeded, because his sword was tightly pinched by a big hand, and he couldn't draw it out at all. Ahaha. Vlad didn't pay any attention to the fact that a knife was still shallowly stabbed in his stomach. His left hand pinched the blade tightly, and a white light flickered on his right hand. Bang! The powerful straight punch had already covered Armament Hockey's chest between Golden Lion's haste. PFF'd. A large mouthful of blood spurted out of Golden Lion's mouth, and his body flew out with a blood-red trail. It was really embarrassing for this old man. He was already 70 years old, and he was still being attacked by a young force like Vlad. A strong young man beat, and the bloodshed is already a level that an old man absolutely can't bear. Even with the monster constitution of the people of this world, he can't bear it. Woo! Vlad didn't chase after him, he stayed where he was and let out a slow sigh, as the time coming soon. As I have said before, the color of platinum is a very stamina-consuming flame. Even Vlad now can use this flame as a normal attack, but it is also a common use. A trick like Zhu Rong is not, it can be used easily, and the consumption of hockey and physical strength is amazing. Constantly using flame and hockey to strengthen muscles and increase strength, that is to say, constantly consuming flame and hockey, even for Vlad, such consumption is somewhat unbearable. As far as he is concerned, Vulcan, the limit that the form can be used is estimated to be about half an hour. I have been fighting Golden Lion for so long before, and a very long time has passed. Now I am very close to Vlad's limit. If the battle is not over, there will be no power to fight. Well, anyway, Golden Lion Senpai's power has already been shown, right? Vlad muttered to himself and said with a smile, I wonder if I can continue to improve. Speaking of being able to fight back and forth with me in the form of Vulcan, Senior Golden Lion is already amazing. I said before, Vlad in Vulcan mode already has the strength to fight the 4 Emperors Admiral head-on, but now the old Golden Lion can still fight Vlad to such a level. The name of the Golden Lion, one of the 3 great pirates of the year. Hey, Senior. Vlad said loudly, my time is running out. Zhu Rong's time is almost up. Cough cough cough. Golden Lion coughed heavily, blood gushing out from his mouth, and the hand holding the knife was weak, but his face was smiling. Jia ha 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 ha. Boy, he actually revealed his weakness by himself. What are you thinking about? Well, because there's not much time left. Vlad smiled, so I decided to take care of you in one go. Quote. Golden Lion looks a little stunned. Jia ha 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 ha. Boy, do you know what you're talking about? Golden Lion laughed. Who do you think Lao Su is? Wu, how do you say it? Hephaestus. Vlad beckoned gently, and the white ring that had been floating behind his back floated in front of him. The so-called Vulcan mode doesn't just refer to Zhu Rong. Well. Golden Lion frowned. He had never heard of the name Zhu Rong. Of course it was. After all, it was the title of the god of Vlad's previous life. Senior, of course you won't know the name Hephaestus. The white gold ring was suspended in Vlad's hand, and the illusion began to deform, so you naturally don't know, Senior, the so-called Hephaestus is the god of fire and craftsman. What do you mean? Golden Lion clenched his sword tightly, his trembling hands finally stopped. Well, what do you mean? Let's let you have a good experience, Senior, right? The ring in Vlad's hand kept changing, turning into a long sword, a long spear, and even the appearance of a golden lion. Finally, it turned into a small sphere, and its size was still shrinking. This trick. Vlad gently held the ball that had shrunk to the size of the palm of his hand, spread out his palm, and placed the ball lightly on his hand. Hephaestus, transformation. Apollo. Vlad said softly. The white ball suddenly changed, a small mouth appeared on it, flames shot out, and then... Hey! The ball disappeared instantly. What? When Golden Lion noticed it, the ball was already in front of him, and the speed was so fast that it didn't give him the slightest chance to react. PFF'd. With a light sound, the sphere swelled, instantly engulfing the Golden Lion. The Golden Lion didn't even have a chance to react, only the huge white sphere was suspended in midair, and endless light and heat dyed here. Just like the sun. Hephaestus, who can continuously collect the flames that escaped when I fight, keeps increasing his strength. How many seconds can you last for such a serious injury? Senior. Fred chuckled. Chapter 185 Gorosei, 5 Elders. Then, Senior, can you resist this move? Vlad muttered to himself with some uncertainty. The transparent crystal vivi on his forehead was shining. Well, it doesn't matter if I can bear it. Hephaestus doesn't consume my physical strength anyway. Should be enough to use Loki once. Yanwei Wuxian. Zhu Rong is not just a simple strength enhancement technique, it is also a prerequisite for many of Vlad's skills. Hephaestus is only one of them, and of course Loki is also one. Hephaestus is a very convenient move, and it doesn't require Vlad to spend extra physical strength to use it. The origin of this move is that Vlad felt that the flames he used to attack and move were just dissipated. Wouldn't it be too wasteful? Can't we reuse the waste? So the trick named after the green-headed Vulcan in the Greek mythology of the previous life was born, and the shape can be adjusted at will. Vlad gave these shapes different names, which could attract Vlad to use it independently. Hephaestus, flame can continuously accumulate power. In theory, as long as Vlad can keep fighting, Hephaestus' power can be infinitely enhanced, and even Vlad can't imagine how much power can burst out in the end. Crack. Time passed, the sphere formed by the trick called Hephaestus, Apollo gradually collapsed, and dense cracks appeared on the surface of the sphere, leaking a nearly liquid-like white gold flame inside. Oh! Vlad put his hands around his chest, looking a little surprised. Are you still conscious? Vlad looked surprised. Hephaestus had completely dispersed, but that senior was still floating in the air. Ha, ha. Golden Lion floated in the air, panting slowly. His whole body exuded a disgusting smell of meat. His whole body was charred black. His hand and the hilt of the sword had been fused together, and it had been connected into one under the high temperature. Vlad really did not expect that even with such an injury, this old man could continue to stand. What kind of courage is this? What kind of will is it? Is this the Golden Lion? Vlad smiled, as expected of a Golden Lion. Boy! Golden Lion said slowly, sign up. Vlad. Ferdinando Vlad. Vlad's expression was unusually serious, the man who wants to become One Piece King of Pirates. One Piece King of Pirates. Golden Lion muttered, Vlad. Gia ha 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 ha. Ferdinando Vlad. I admit you. You beat me. Golden Lion laughed so wildly. Quote. Honored. Vlad smiled. Boy. Golden Lion smiled, his tone getting weaker and weaker. You can already be proud, but you defeated Lao Tzu, defeated Golden Lion. Isn't that a matter of course? Vlad smiled. Gia ha 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 ha. Completely lost. Golden Lion laughed. Roger. Lost again. This is a joy that has never been seen in the past 20 years. Although he lost, it is indeed incomparable joy, just like when he fought against Roger Whitebeard back then. Golden Lion's laughter stopped abruptly, and he was able to stand like this even after being injured like this. Golden Lion already had the willpower of a monster. Instantly lost consciousness, the Golden Lion fell straight down. Oh la la. Vlad spread his wings, and the white gold color on his body shattered directly. It was like a broken light scattered across the sky with Vlad's flight. It really looked like a beautiful scenery. Vlad grabbed the Golden Lion. This senior was finally defeated. Wouldn't it be a waste of time to just fall into the sea like this? Vlad had no spare time to salvage him. The battle is finally over. Dash 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 dash. Boom. A huge roar resounded through the sky. Hey, those islands are falling. The maid said in surprise. The distance, a group of sky islands that were brought to the sky by Golden Lion using the power of fluttering fruits began to sink, and the sea water surrounding the islands shattered and sank instantly. The Golden Lion's powers are disarmed. The chef crossed his arms and smiled, looks like the battle is over. Very capable. The maid lit a cigarette, and Isho said, looks like our captain is still very capable. Isn't that right? Enel's cheeks were flushed, and he was holding a bottle of wine. He smiled like a fool, laughing and laughing, and he didn't have the usual noble and glamorous look. The fire dragon is super strong. How can he not win? Holding Enel's hand to prevent him from falling flat, nodded repeatedly. In her heart Vlad was invincible, Mr. Captain will not fail. Ah ha ha ha. Bold laughter spread across the sky, isn't that of course? How could I possibly be defeated? The fiery red meteor pierced the sky, and Vlad flew to the platinum, Drager with the Golden Lion in his hand, looking very happy. Welcome back, Mr. Captain. The chef smiled, and a small plate of cake had appeared in his hand at some point. Oh. Vlad changed back to his human form and took the cake from the chef's hands with a smile. The chef still knows me. Eating a plate of cake after a fierce battle is the best supplement for a soldier. Of course, the taste is not important. Yes. Is this the golden lion? Golden lion who was thrown on the deck by Vlad and looked at this guy like Kurozumi. Is this still alive? Baby 5 felt a sincere shock. Is such a serious injury still alive? Looking at Golden Lion's chest that was constantly heaving, this woman once again saw what is called the power of life. Does this even require doubts? Vlad smiled. Although I failed, now is not the time for this senior to quit. Later. Okay, now all the conditions have been met. Vlad licked the cake plate in his hand cleanly and said, it's time. Dang dang dang. Vlad turned his head and walked into the cabin to take out a phone bug, with artificially exaggerated sound effects in his mouth. Mr. Captain, what is this? Serena asked curiously. Well. Vlad smiled, did not speak, and made a call. It's me, Tessero. Soon, the other end of the phone was connected, and the answer was a deep male voice named Guild Tessero. Oh, what a long time no see, Tessero. Vlad smiled. What, Vlad? Tessero's voice didn't waver at all. What's the matter with you? Oh, of course there is. Vlad smiled, didn't I tell you to do me a favor when I left? What? Tessero's voice jumped with excitement. Is it finally time? Yes. Vlad smiled. If it's not time, there won't be much time. Good. Tessero was never a sloppy guy. Soon, they'll be calling you. Understood. Vlad hung up the phone. Blue blue blue. Quote. Then, as Tessero said, the phone bug rang quickly. Ah ha ha ha. Vlad answered the phone and laughed. Hello, I'm Vlad the Fire Dragon. Gorosei, 5 Elders. 4. Chapter 186 Shichibukai and Kazaru Strike. First time meeting, please advise. Vlad sat on the deck leaning against the side of the boat and smiled. Oh, no, we didn't meet, should we say, first call. Vlad the Fire Dragon. An old but oppressive voice came from the opposite side, and the phone bug's face changed into a bearded figure. Is that the Fire Dragon Vlad who offered a reward of 750 million? Oh, do the grown-ups of the Gorosei, 5 Elders know my name? Vlad smiled, it's such an honor. My name will be remembered by some of the most powerful people in the world. Hello, is this a treatment that only big pirates have? This is true, and I deserve it too. Is the government wary of big pirates? A madman. The bearded Gorosei, 5 Elders on the opposite side scolded. You need to know who you are talking to. Pirates. You are talking to the center of the world government. The center of the world. Ahaha. Ouch, this is really scary. Vlad smiled. Gorosei, 5 Elders, world government, it's so scary. It's so scary that I can't even speak. Pirates, how stupid. The bearded Gorosei, 5 Elders, tone was very uneven. After all, it's just garbage on the sea. It seems impossible to expect you to communicate with us normally. Well, don't speak so harshly. Lord Gorosei, 5 Elders. Vlad sneered, I'm here with a transaction mentality. It's hard to be able to talk to a big man like Gorosei, 5 Elders. Of course, it's not just for talking nonsense. Deal. The bearded Gorosei, 5 Elders disdainfully said, what deal can the government have with the pirates? Don't be too arrogant, pirates, although I don't know why Tenryubito asked us to contact you, but pirates, don't try to challenge government. No, don't get me wrong. Vlad basked in the sun and smiled, I'm really here to make a deal. Who said the government and marine can't have a deal? Lord Gorosei, 5 Elders, don't forget, under the government's banner there is also an institution called Shichibukai-o. Quote. I'm a little scared, I'm afraid that my bounty is so high, will someone come to trouble me? I'm so scared that I can't sleep all night long. Vlad laughed, so I thought, can I get rid of this identity? Can I not be affected by the bounty? The answer is yes. Isn't Shichibukai under the government's authority just such an institution? Vlad said excitedly, isn't that awesome? Legitimate pirates, this is what I've been pursuing. So you managed to get in touch with us. The phone bug's expression changed to that of an old man with a long beard, and the corresponding voice became a little lower, another Gorosei, 5 elders. Yeah, Shichibukai is just your subordinate, right? Vlad replied, wouldn't it be easy for you to appoint a Shichibukai? Pirate, where did you get your confidence? We'll accept your fate as Shichibukai so easily. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders said indifferently, but there was no strong smell of gunpowder. If you have any chips, take them out as soon as possible. We don't have any extra time to talk nonsense with you. Happy. I just like to deal with people who are neat and tidy. Vlad smiled, of course there are chips. If you want to make a deal with the government, you can't have any preparations. Vlad's expression was half smiling. I wouldn't dare to disturb the precious time of the Gorosei, 5 elders without proper preparation. Transactions. It is normal for pirates to have transactions with the government. Shichibukai is a typical example. After all, the so-called justice is still just a slogan. For the government, only interests are really worth considering. The government has enough interests. What is the so-called justice? Then stop talking nonsense. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders had a slightly impatient tone. Well, don't worry, Lord Gorosei, 5 elders. Vlad smiled, my chips will definitely make you tempted. After all, I have been preparing for a long time. There is no reason not to tempt you. So, what exactly are your chips? Gorosei, 5 elders spoke up. Impel Down is also an important government agency, isn't it? Vlad changed the subject and asked. Stop talking nonsense. Gorosei, 5 elders grow impatient. Impel Down is one of the 3 major agencies of the government. This is a fact known to everyone in the world, and there is absolutely no need to answer. 20 years ago. Vlad said, Impel Down, which will never be breached, was breached, and a lawless guy escaped from Impel Down, which is like an impregnable wall. Even if it has been 20 years, this is Impel Down. An unprecedented gaffe in history, right? Quote. What do you mean? The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders instantly understood what Vlad meant. Could it be? That's right. Vlad smiled. The golden lion is now in my hands, the overlord of the generation who swept across the sea 20 years ago, the only escapee from the big prison, the man who made the government look shameless, is now lying on my bodo. Quote. There was a sudden silence on the phone, and the Gorosei, 5 elders suddenly fell silent. How can we trust you? We won't believe that you really caught the golden lion just because of your words. Well, it's very simple. Vlad smiled, as long as I wake up Golden Lion and let him say a few words. Although he hasn't appeared in 20 years, you haven't forgotten his voice, have you? This. The Gorosei, 5 elders were a little hesitant, and rightfully so. After all, even after 20 years, they wouldn't be able to tell if this person was a golden lion by just a few words across a phone bug. One simple thing, Gorosei, 5 elders don't take Vlad's words so easily. You go to the nearest marine base and we confirm with an impact phone bug. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders finally said. Just kidding, go to the nearest marine base. The ghost knows if there is an ambush there, and the ghost knows if there will be warships surrounding it immediately. Vlad is not a fool. I wouldn't. Vlad was only halfway through speaking, and at this moment, Vlad's expression suddenly changed. Mosamoxi. A man squatted on the side of the ship quietly, and said with some trouble, I'm sorry, I want to ask you if you know why there are islands falling from the sky. It's scary. It scared me a lot. This guy is. The first person to react was the chef, and 2 kitchen knives appeared in his hands in an instant. Marine. The maid saw the justice cloak floating behind the visitor. Enemy, enemy. Serena flinched a little. Calm down. Vlad yelled. This is really. Vlad put on a reluctant smile on his face, the worst situation. Oh. The visitor exaggeratedly opened his mouth and said, "Are you the one with the fire dragon pirates? It's really scary. The total reward is over 1 billion pirates." This voice. Vlad didn't hang up the phone, and of course the Gorosei, 5 elders on the other side heard the call, "Borsellino." Ha ha. Vlad smiled dryly. It seems that the identity of Golden Lion can be directly confirmed now. The name of the visitor is Borsellino, codename Kizaru, Marine Headquarters Admiral. This is really bad luck. Chapter 187 Thunder and Light. This is the worst situation ever. Vlad screamed badly in his heart. He didn't expect Kizaru to appear here. He was also very confused. Okay. Where is this place? Why is there a Marine Admiral suddenly appearing at a height of 10,000 meters above the sea? This must be too stupid, right? Is Marine Admiral so idle? Don't do anything else all day. Vlad gritted his teeth secretly. He really didn't expect to meet an opponent who absolutely didn't want to fight in such a place at such a time. Marine Admiral is not some kind of cat or dog. The real Marine headquarters has the highest combat power, the world's top powerhouse. Marine is the most important force in deterring the world, and the most important force against the big pirates in the New World. So Vlad is very strange. Why did this guy Kizaru come to this place if he didn't go to the New World to wrestle with the 4 emperors? Vlad doesn't know yet that the ups and downs of the Platinum Drager in East Blue over the past few months are driving East Blue's Marine mad, such a powerful and elusive enemy. Staying in East Blue, the Marines were so frightened that they had no choice. Marine Marshal Sengoku had to send Admiral Kizaru, the most mobile, to prepare for the possible attack of the dragon pirates. Although it is a very bad thing to meet Kizaru whenever, but now it is a very bad time to meet Kizaru. If you are in good condition, you can fight for a while. Zurong is also it's very powerful, maybe you can run away in the end. But now the weak Vlad does not have the strength to fight against Kizaru. The previous Zurong has exhausted Vlad hockey and physical strength. Just flying back with Golden Lion just now made Vlad feel very painful. Not to mention fighting now, it's hard to even move, let alone Kizaru, who can't be beaten even when he's in good shape. Oh, is this voice Gorosei, 5 elders? Kizaru squatted on the side of the boat. His tone was very weird. The slow tone that could be stretched was really annoying. I thought I heard it wrong. Excellent, Borsellino. Vlad didn't hang up, and now the Gorosei, 5 elders are his only savior, and if he hangs up, no one can stop Kizaru. You are actually by the fire dragon's side. Now, Borsellino, make sure that the Golden Lion is on deck. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders spoke up, his voice full of anticipation. Oh, Golden Lion. Kizaru seemed to be taken aback. It's scary, Lord Gorosei, 5 elders, don't say such a scary name all of a sudden. Stop crap, Borsellino. Gorosei, 5 elders must have had enough of Kizaru's bad temper, and said bluntly, do what you have to do. Understood _. Kizaru said lazily, he doesn't take Gorosei, 5 elders very seriously. At Kizaru's level, there is no need to be too jealous of Gorosei, 5 elders in terms of position and strength. Kizaru can slap his ass and walk away. Gorosei, 5 elders can't afford such a huge loss of combat power. But as a marine, it is a duty to obey orders, and even Kizaru upholds this principle. Hey, little brother, can you show me that guy? A dazzling flash flashed, and Kizaru had appeared in front of Vlad, pointing at the Golden Lion in front of Vlad. Did you hear that too? My boss asked me to confirm the identity of this guy, and I'm having a hard time doing it too. That can't be done. Vlad placed his right hand on Golden Lion's chest. This senior is now my life-saving charm, isn't it really dead for you? Kizaru looked like it was hard to do. It's hard for me. Well, but it's okay for you to take a look. Vlad mentioned the Golden Lion, so that Kizaru could see the Golden Lion's face. How? Although the injury is serious, it can be seen, right? Kizaru Admiral, this person is indeed the Golden Lion, right? How is it? The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders asked impatiently, is that the golden lion himself? It's terrifying. That devil-like golden lion was beaten like this. Kizaru said with some fear, Vlad the fire dragon, what a monster-like guy. Where do you come from to say this? Vlad didn't say this sentence. Although Kizaru always shows weakness to others, he actually doesn't take his opponents seriously. This guy is different from Akainu and Kuzan. Akainu and Kuzan are for their own justice and fighting, and only this ambiguous guy is the most unpredictable, neither for justice, nor seems to have his own purpose, completely unpredictable. Is it really the golden lion? Bearded Gorosei, 5 elders. Well, yes, Lord Gorosei, 5 elders, that really surprised me. Kizaru's mouth pouted so hard that it was extremely lewd. Since it's really the golden lion, then, Borsellino. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders said coldly, I order you to arrest the dragon pirates and the golden lion. Hey, that's too much. Lord Gorosei, 5 elders. Vlad smiled, didn't you agree to make a deal? Pirates, a transaction that has not been established is not considered a transaction. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders. Do you want to fight such a terrifying fire dragon pirates? Kizaru looked around, the chef with 2 knives in his hand, the maid with a lot of fumaroles and a high-tech looking cannon, the musician who was shaking but had a violin around his neck. Borsellino, I'm not kidding you, give me an honest mission. Gorosei, 5 elders roared angrily, Kizaru, this guy can always raise their blood pressure, so to speak. Oh, follow orders. Kizaru said helplessly, then, everyone, just like what you saw, please don't resist. Who's going to take it without a fight? The maid has always been arrogant, if you can do it, try it. Z. The muzzle on the shoulder of the maid flashed suddenly, and a white beam was excited, imitating the laser weapon displayed by the dragon roar cannon. Beam flashed away, but it didn't hit Kizaru at all. The man had already appeared behind the maid, and said with great interest, oh, laser, what a powerful ability. I also have a similar ability. Quote. Just like this. Beep. A sharp voice sounded, and a light flashed on Kizaru's fingers, getting brighter and brighter. Brush. Bang. Beep beep. Intense electric current sounded. There was another person behind the maid, with a strong electric current and a drunken expression. A man named Enel knocked on Kizaru's hand with a stick covered with armament. Oh. Unscathed, Kizaru exclaimed, Logia, Guro Guro no mi, rumble rumble fruit. That's amazing. Hiccup tilde. Is that you, making trouble on this ship? Hiccup tilde. Enel hiccuped, don't you know I covered this place? Chapter 188 The Power of Terror. It's scary. Logia Guro Guro no mi, rumble rumble fruit. A layer of armament's hockey was attached to Kizaru's arm, and he easily blocked Enel's long stick. His face was calm, but his mouth was full of fear. I found another powerful Logia ability. It's amazing. Ah, the dragon pirates. Marine. Om. The dull voice spread, and blue flames erupted from the fumarole on the maid's body. Her arm had turned into a buzzing chainsaw, and the pitch-black hockey wrapped around it tightly. The explosive speed erupted, and the arm slammed back. Oh, where's hockey? This can't be hit. Even though Kizaru said that, he still didn't move at all, just waiting for the maid to attack. PFF'd. Kizaru was directly chopped into 2 pieces by the maid's bombardment, and the upper body flew directly in the air, looking really terrifying. Success. Marine Admiral known as the highest combat power of the world government. So easy to kill yourself. Could it be a little too watery? Be careful, baby 5. The chef's figure appeared ghostly beside the maid. Hey. A cloud of butter covered with armament hockey stood in front of the chef and the maid, and a dazzling laser blasted directly on it. Oh. A wretched voice sounded. Kizaru's body was condensed in front of the 2 of them accompanied by a strong light, and the index finger of his right hand kept pointing at the maid, Fire Dragon Pirates, Evil Chef Dino, it's really amazing. It's true that armament hockey can hurt the Logia ability of the elemental incarnation, but if you can detect the upcoming attack in advance and actively avoid the attack, then of course, even if the attack is attached to hockey, you can only return in vain, so, skills are not too difficult for Kizaru. Cut. The expression on the chef's face was a little unsightly, and his waist was slightly bruised. Even with a ball of hockey-covered butter, couldn't it completely block the opponent's attack? As expected of Marine Admiral. God's punishment. Enel roared, and with a heavy wave of his arm, his right hand turned into a huge pillar of lightning, slamming towards Kizaru. Oh! The speed of thunder and lightning is very fast, so fast that it is difficult for humans to respond, but such humans do not include Kizaru. At the level of Marine Admiral, both hockey ability and fighting technique have reached a level that ordinary people cannot achieve in their lifetime. Using Kizaru's observation hockey to predict Enel's attack couldn't be easier. But this man didn't dodge at all, because there was no need. Crack. Flashed, Kizaru was still standing on the deck, not even the corners of his clothes were wrinkled, but he was very scared and said, "Wow. I almost died." How? The maid looked surprised. Is this all unscathed? This guy. Isn't that right? Chef smiled wryly. He is Admiral Kizaru Bolserino of Marine Headquarters. Logia Glint Glint Fruit Ability. Enel's lightning can't hurt the flash. Yeah, ha ha ha. Enel, who hadn't recovered from the drunken state, laughed and said, "It's really interesting, is it Logia who is the same as the god? This kind of opponent is really good." Crackling. Enel appeared beside Kizaru in an instant, and lightning gave him the ability to move almost instantaneously, but in just a moment he appeared in front of Kizaru. His arm was pitch black, and electric light flickered on it. Bang! The dazzling light of the Bigfoot kicked directly into Enel's chest. The man who claimed to be a god was blasted out directly, smashed the side of the ship, and flew out of the boat. Woo, it's dangerous. Kizaru seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. I was almost killed. Enel, quote. The maid's anger is unprecedented. Although Enel has never admitted to being a crew member of this ship, but after getting along for so long, he will eventually be regarded as a friend, which is a matter of course. Don't worry, Enel is Thunderbolt. Chef clenched the kitchen knife. It's not difficult to fly back. The problem now is, this guy. But Kizaru didn't do anything, just stood there silently looking tired. Oh, what a hassle. Kizaru said, why don't you want to do it all of a sudden? It's like taking a good rest. Well. Kizaru suddenly looked surprised. Is this ability? Then he noticed the woman who had been silently hiding from the beginning. It was strange, he hadn't noticed her at all before, but his situation was definitely not normal, right? Kizaru still knows himself very well, and of course he doesn't think his current psychology is normal. Oh, it's you, right? Little girl, that's your ability, right? Kizaru Yuzai opened his mouth and said, it's amazing, can it affect my psychology without knowing it? It's really not easy. Serena timidly hid in the corner, her heart was full of lazy emotions. Is this guy so strong? In her mind, another voice spoke, isn't our dual-pointed emotional resonance of no use to him? Beep. The dazzling light flickered, and Kizaru lifted his foot, and the next moment was to blast Serena to pieces. Bang! The chef rushed forward, and the whole person came to Kizaru in an instant, kicked on Kizaru's feet, and the laser shot suddenly shot into the sky. Yeah. Kizaru was a little surprised. This guy, his strength is not simple. Blast, big break. The huge sledgehammer slammed on Kizaru's body with terrifying force, and the maid suddenly appeared, hitting the red heart with a heavy blow. Bang. Kizaru Marine Admiral, the huge force was smashed and flew out of the platinum, Drager just like the previous Enel. Crackling. Flashed, and Enel, who was kicked away by Kizaru, finally woke up and returned to the battlefield. Yeah ha ha ha, I'm so thankful for you. Thunder Halberd. The thunder and lightning attached to the going long stick suddenly, and then instantly formed a halberd made of thunder and lightning, and Enel swung down heavily with the halberd in both hands. Oh oh! Kizaru didn't panic, he pulled his hands, and a long sword flashing with dazzling light appeared in his hand, Tiankong Cloud Sword. Boom! A terrifying explosion resounded in the sky. Lightning flashes, lasers splash. Enel was blasted into the sky far away, and Kizaru disappeared. Crackling. Enel appeared on the deck in a flash. Vivi was out of breath. Although he was not injured, he had already fallen from a height of 10,000 meters when he regained his senses. Even he was startled. Done. The maid was a little uneasy. I'm afraid not. The chef smiled wryly. There. Enel looked up sharply, and above the sky, the rays of light converged. Yasukani no Magatama. Quote. Kizaru crossed his hands, and the dazzling light began to flicker. Now that we have encountered stubborn resistance, we should just blow up the ship. Borsellino, stop. It was at this time that Vlad leaned leisurely on the side of the ship with the phone in his hand, smiling. Now, the battle is over. Stop, Borsellino. Mobile users please visit Reading for a better reading experience. Chapter 189 Compromise. While his comrades Kizaru were fighting fiercely, Vlad was not idle either. He knew that it was impossible to defeat Kizaru with his comrades alone. Marco, Vista and the rest of the dozen or so Whitebeards. The pirate team leader did not take down a seriously injured Akainu, and it was even more impossible for his own partners to do so. The most they can do is delay time, that's all. Once Kizaru decides to destroy the ship, then there is no chance, maybe only Enel can get away, so what Vlad has to do now is let Kizaru go back on his own before he decides to destroy the ship. And how to make Kizaru retreat by himself seems to be difficult to achieve. After all, now he has no resistance, and the crew is completely unable to stop him, but this situation is indeed possible. As I said before, whether I can continue sailing today depends on the phone bug in my hand. Of course, only the Gorosei, 5 elders on the other end of the phone can make Kizaru flinch. Kizaru is not a Kainu, this man does not have such a strong desire for justice. That's too much. Gorosei, 5 elders. Vlad didn't seem to panic at all. The more panicked at this time, the more quickly he would go to destruction. Vlad understood this deeply, so he didn't panic at all. This was considered a gamble, just like as Blackbeard said, if you are afraid, you have already lost, either live or be destroyed. Vlad has only 2 choices. What he has to do now is to work hard to turn the result to life. He is not alone, and behind him are his friends who believe in him. Did it just break our agreement? Vlad opened his mouth. There is nothing fair in the world, pirate, are you such a naive fellow? The long-bearded Gorosei, 5 elders had a serious tone, and there was no such thing as complacency. For these mature guys, Vlad's experience today is just something they are used to, and there is nothing to be proud of. Being able to get the same benefits without paying a price, what would you choose if it were you? Is this still a choice? Vlad smiled and said, of course I chose to buy without capital. If I had to choose the one with cost, wouldn't that be a big idiot? Then do you think we are fools? Gorosei, 5 elders asked. I'm afraid a fool can't be the Gorosei, 5 elders. Vlad replied. So, the answer is this. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders said, since you understand everything, then accept your fate. Pirate, although you defeated the Golden Lion, I'm afraid you don't have the strength to resist Borsellino now. Yeah, Kizaru Admiral arrived just in time. Vlad smiled and had to say that the timing of Kizaru's arrival was really bad enough. He lost his combat power and the ship was flying in the sky. It was a terrible situation. So, our deal is naturally over. But, Lord Gorosei, 5 elders. Vlad smiled, I think our deal can go on. Pirate, now even if you have any chips, it's useless. The bearded Gorosei, 5 elders said, because, we're already generals. That's not necessarily true. Vlad smiled. Maybe I can make you change your mind, maybe. Quote. If you have anything else to say, come as soon as possible. If you have any other chips, show it. The bearded Gorose, 5 elders said, that Borsellino guy is so dead. Well, Kizaru Admiral had a lot of fun. Vlad smiled. As for the chips, there's nothing new. Are you challenging my patience? Pirates. A hint of impatience in the bearded Gorose, 5 elders, tone. Well, when it comes to chips, my biggest chip right now is Golden Lion, senpai. Vlad smiled. I think the government wants him too. After all, he is the man who threw a piece of shit in the government's face. Pirates, pay attention to your tone of voice. The bearded Gorose, 5 elders said, with Borsellino here, can you and the Golden Lion escape? This chip is long gone. That's not necessarily true. Vlad said softly, it's up to me to decide whether Kizaru Admiral will bring you back a Golden Lion or a pile of ashes. Then you are courting death. The bearded Gorose, 5 elders were unimpressed. Ha, looking for death. I'm saving myself now, Gorose, 5 elders. Vlad said disdainfully, although I feel sorry for Senior Golden Lion, but there are still friends behind me, so I can't be willful. We don't care if the Golden Lion lives or dies. Gorose, 5 elders say so. What are you kidding? Gorose, 5 elders. Vlad said decisively, I'm afraid you are very concerned about the life and death of Senior Golden Lion. Since it was built, it has been called the only escaped prisoner of the big prison with iron walls, the legendary great pirate who competed with Roger Whitebeard 20 years ago. Vlad said with certainty, why would you let such a guy die like this? What a joke, Gorose, 5 elders, don't take me for a fool. It has been 21 years since the opening of the era of the great pirates. The number of pirates is increasing day by day, and the world's situation is becoming increasingly corrupt. Presumably the government must be powerless to deal with such a situation. So, at this time, if a legendary big pirate called Whitebeard, the world's strongest man, is captured by the government, this kind of news is for the civilians who have been infested by pirates and have lost confidence in the government, and for those who are not. What is the inspiration for the member states who believe in the government as much as before? Quote. What kind of deterrent is it to those careerists who have made up their minds to go to sea? You don't need me to explain such ideals, do you? Gorose, 5 elders. Vlad became more and more confident. You all know this for granted, right? Only a living Golden Lion can do such a thing, but a burned Golden Lion can't do it. Who would believe it? Ah, we caught the Golden Lion, but couldn't get anyone out, poof. Ah. Vlad laughed, the whole world will laugh out loud. Quote. There was silence on the other end of the phone for a long time. It's not enough. The bearded Gorose, 5 elders said, not enough chips. A Golden Lion is not enough. Golden Lion is not enough, but also add me. Vlad said so. You. Gorose, 5 elders were a little surprised. Of course, my target is Shichibukai. The ability to defeat the Golden Lion has proved my strength, right? What kind of deterrence is such a strong man joining the government? I don't need to give you such a simple truth. Have you spoken? Vlad said so. Shichibukai, you need more than just fighting power. Gorose, 5 elders spoke slowly. Vlad was silent, but he already knew it was halfway through and the Gorose, 5 elders were less determined. Of course I know that Shichibukai needs more than fighting power. Vlad said, that's why I'm more suitable. Gorose, 5 elders, haven't the guys from CP haven't checked my origins for so long. My father was an excellent Marine, so I don't have any ill feelings for Marine. Vlad didn't lie, he really didn't have any ill feelings towards Marine, and the guys who upheld justice didn't know how to dislike him, except for the government. Quote. The other side did not speak. By the way, you should also know the hatred between me and Charlotte Linlin, right? Vlad put the last straw on the camel's back. Chapter 190 Talk to Sengoku. Hey, got it, Lord Gorose, 5 elders. The tall Kizaru stood lazily on the deck of the Platinum, drag flying above the sky, listening to the teachings of the Gorose, 5 elders with an absent-minded look on his face. X23 US. Com updates fastest. Then, pirate, give the golden lion to Borsellino. Gorose, 5 elders finally said this to Vlad. What are you kidding? Lord Gorose, 5 elders. Vlad of course refused. Golden Lion Senior is now my life-saving charm. If it is given to Kizaru Admiral, we really can only stop sailing here. Humph. The Gorose, 5 elders hung up, and the last temptation was pointless, but since the man really wanted to be Shichibukai, the Golden Lion couldn't run away. Okay, then, Kizaru Admiral. Vlad smiled, would you like to stay for some dessert? It's not too early, isn't it? Can you? I'm still looking forward to it. Kizaru hit the snake with the stick, and opened his mouth in anticipation. Amount. Vlad actually doesn't know what to say, this guy can't read atmosphere. He was beaten to death just now, but now he still wants to stay and eat desserts. This person is really invincible in a sense. Well, let's forget it. Kizaru looked around at the members of the Fire Dragon Pirates who looked at him with bad eyes. Even a man like him who didn't care about the world at all would find it difficult to eat in the presence of so many murderous guys. It's amazing. Vlad the Fire Dragon. Kizaru exclaimed, how could he really convince the Gorose, 5 elders? Well. Vlad smiled, how do you say it? It's a good talk. Gorose, 5 elders. Yes, the Gorose, 5 elders are still pretty talkative, if you're able to benefit them enough. Politicians, always. Accepting Vlad's condition not only can get Golden Lion, but also adds a powerful fighting force to the government, no matter how you think about it. By the way, Kizaru Admiral, since you don't want to stay for dessert, can you go now? Vlad smiled, although it will be Shichibukai soon, I would be a little flustered by a Marine Admiral staying on my boat like this. Hey, I also want to take a downwind boat to a marine base. Kizaru said, aren't you going to give the Golden Lion to Marine? Why don't you just load me to the marine base by the way? You are joking. Kizaru Admiral, I can't trust you, whether it's the government or Marine, I won't be able to play the cards in my hand so easily before I can confirm the transaction is complete. Vlad smiled. Oh, what a cautious pirate. Kizaru sighed. I can't help it, who wants to deal with such giants as Marine and the government? If I'm not careful, I'm afraid I'll be crushed to pieces in an instant, right? Vlad replied. Is it really scary? The eyes under Kizaru's sunglasses don't know what it looks like, and he smiles, are all pirates so scary now? Because the opponent is too scary. Vlad smiled all over his face, if you don't leave, I'll fuck it right away. This ship is burnt down, you won't get anything. It's scary. See you later. Kizaru threw a phone bug and turned into light. Vlad the Fire Dragon. Call. Seeing that Kizaru finally disappeared on the deck, Vlad let out a slow sigh of relief. It was really the closest time the Fire Dragon pirates were to destroy the group. The strength of the opponent was too terrifying. The members of the Fire Dragon pirates really have no way to smash the Platinum. Drag. This place is 10,000 meters high. Fantastic. Captain. Chef was very excited. It really touched Gorose, 5 elders. Well, it's not too difficult. Vlad was never proud. As this Marine Admiral. Maid's face was a little heavy, monster-like power. I thought I was going to die. Serena said so. As a captain, how could it be possible to watch my lovely comrades attacked? Vlad smiled. Yeah, ha ha ha. Enno laughed loudly. It's really interesting. There are really many strong men like this in the sea. A lot. Vlad shook his head. Very rare. So terrifying, so terrifying. Well, next. Vlad picked up the phone bug that Kizaru had given him. What's going to happen? Captain, are we going to give the Golden Lion to Marine? The chef asked. Of course you have to hand it over, but you can't just hand it over like this. Vlad said. At least the government has to officially recognize me as Shichibukai. The question is, Captain, how can the government trust us to take the Golden Lion with us? What if we go back on it? The chef asked. Well, what can they do if they are worried? Even the government is powerless in this situation. Vlad said casually, in the situation just now, Kizaru can destroy us all, but it can't take away the Golden Lion. This is the truth we know, but what the Gorosei 5 elders heard, it's just the few of you that drag it out. Living in Kizaru, for them, our fighting power has not bottomed out, they don't know that I have lost all fighting power. Desperate to get the Golden Lion, and Kizaru can't bring back a living Golden Lion, the idea of Gorosei 5 elders is self-evident. Isn't cooperation the best option? It's not a bad thing for the government that such a powerful force is willing to join the government. What's more, the Golden Lion will definitely be handed over to the government. The Gorosei 5 elders understand this very well. I deliberately talked to them through Tenryubito. Such sincere pigs can feel it. Let's go with the Golden Lion first. How about a ride? Dash 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 dash. Bang! The solid table shattered in an instant, and even a table made of solid wood could never have the strength to withstand the man's blow. What are you kidding? How can Shichibukai just change? Man's name is Sengoku, Sengoku the Buddha, Martial Marine. I didn't get any news about this in advance. Lord Gorosei 5 elders, with all due respect, this decision is too bad. Sengoku, this is the government's decision. On the other side of the phone bug, it was the bearded Gorosei 5 elders who spoke to Vlad earlier. I'm just telling you, you just need to execute. Shichibukai doesn't need Marine to decide. We don't need to say more about the importance of the Golden Lion. The fighting power of the Fire Dragon alone should not be underestimated. The problem of pirates is becoming more and more serious. Even if such a fighting power joins the government's camp, even if it does not really help us, it is of no use. It wouldn't be a bad idea to let the pirate dog bite the dog. As you said, Lord Gorosei 5 elders, Shichibukai is directly under the government and has no relationship with our marine. Sengoku bluntly said, although I am very dissatisfied with your decision, Lord Gorosei 5 elders, marine has no right to lead the appointment and removal of Shichibukai. This matter has nothing to do with us. Sengoku, stop playing your temper, we certainly didn't want you to dominate Shichibukai. The bearded Gorosei 5 elders said, it's just that this transaction with the Fire Dragon is very important. We need Marine as a guarantee. When making a deal with the Fire Dragon, don't let the pirates take the lead. Okay, Sengoku, execute the order. He will contact you soon, and you can discuss the rest yourself. Click. Hang there. Damn. Sengoku can be said to be very angry. The guys in the government are really playing Marine as a monkey. It's such a big thing to replace Shichibukai. They didn't have a conversation with him, the Marine Marshal. They just notified him directly after deciding on the candidate. Is Marshal Marine shameless? But it is true that Shichibukai is an organization directly under the government, and it is a parallel organization to Marine. Marine has no right to intervene in Shichibukai's affairs, although the existence of these dregs on the sea is already disgusting and unbearable. If you can't interfere, you can't interfere, but now the Gorosei 5 elders actually let Marine be responsible for negotiating with the Fire Dragon. Although they want to become Shichibukai, the other party is indeed a pirate. Although Sengoku has experienced this situation many times, the anger in his heart still lingers. Although Marine is a defender of justice, he is only a subordinate of the government after all. Blue blue blue. Quote. The voice of the phone bug rang. Sengoku suddenly understood that this guy is the candidate of the Shichibukai that Gorosei 5 elders said earlier, Vlad the Fire Dragon. Click. Sengoku picked up the phone. Mosamoshi, is that Mr. Sengoku? The voice of a young man came from the opposite side, a very young voice. Is that you, the scum of the sea who wants to be Shichibukai? Fire Dragon Vlad. Sengoku didn't mean the slightest politeness. Hey, don't be so mean, Mr. Sengoku. The man said in a very troubled way. Anyway, we can be considered colleagues now, right? Are you kidding me, pirates? Sengoku's anger came up immediately. How could Marine and pirate be colleagues? Ah ha ha ha. Unbridled laughter came from the other side of the phone bug. Mr. Sengoku, this is not something you can decide. The Gorosei 5 elders have already agreed. So, this is an irreversible fact. Too arrogant. Pirates. Fire Dragon Vlad. Sengoku's tone was as cold as ice. Even if you really become a Shichibukai, but being a legal pirate doesn't mean Marine can't interfere with you. Of course it wasn't anyone else on the other side of the phone, of course it was Vlad. Well, as you like, I don't care. Marine and Shichibukai are parallel organizations anyway. Oh. Vlad's voice sounded a little surprised. Mr. Sengoku, your old friend has woken up. Would you like to have a few words with him? After all, I haven't seen each other for 20 years. Chapter 191 Unlucky Otaku. The Golden Lion woke up. Although it was seriously injured, it is not strange for a monster like the Golden Lion to quickly regain consciousness. Although the body did not recover so quickly, the consciousness was determined by will. After the fierce battle with Vlad, the lion's claws began to sharpen again. Oh, wake up, Senior Golden Lion. Golden Lion heard the excited voice of the kid who defeated him, and it sounded very happy. Ha, Mr. Sengoku, your old friend has woken up. Would you like to have a few words with him? After all, it's been 20 years since we haven't seen him. Golden Lion seemed to be in a good mood when he heard that kid, the kid named Vlad. Still, Sengoku. That is indeed an old friend whom I haven't seen for a long time. Thinking about it 20 years ago, the last battle was really unpleasant. The shock wave in the shocking Buddha's palm seemed to be able to shatter his body. Not to mention the good thing to deal with is that old mad dog's fist. It is really strong enough. Everyone is a monster like a guy. Golden Lion was suddenly a little happy. He was probably the only man in the world who faced the two strongest forces in the Marine headquarters at the same time, right? Although it was a fiasco, it was indeed against Sengoku and Garp at the same time. Neither Roger nor Newgate have such treatment, do they? So Golden Lion is a little happy again. Hey kid, is the guy over there on the phone bug Sengoku? So Golden Lion said so. Of course. Vlad replied with a smile, of course the one on the phone is Marshal Marine, Mr. Sengoku. Jia ha 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 ha. Really? Golden Lion laughed loudly, then let Lao Su have a few words with him. Of course no problem, it's good to have your old friends catch up. Vlad sat cross-legged beside Golden Lion and put the phone bug in front of him. The man was so injured that it was difficult to move, let alone a piece of sea stone inlaid on his wrist. The bracelet is now, respect is respect, but the necessary protective measures are still to be done. This man is really dangerous, and the power of the fluttering fruit is extremely terrifying. If he is really allowed to come aboard this ship, the Platinum Drag, it will be fun. The ship that was finally saved from Admiral Kizaru's hands is like this. It's over, Vlad can't be careful, after all, there are his cherished partners behind him. Jia ha 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 ha. Thank you, little devil. Golden Lion said so. Golden Lion. Sengoku on the other end of the phone to hear the voice of Golden Lion, a voice that he would never forget even 20 years ago. His tone was a bit strange. For these veterans, his youth is the youth spent with his nemesis. This sentence is true. Even if the camps are tit-for-tat rivals, after years of war, there will be some differences between these old men. Heartfelt sympathy. Aren't you dead yet? I thought you'd turned into a pile of bone scum over time. Sengoku sneered. Jia ha 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 ha. You are all alive and well, how could I die so soon? Sengoku. Golden Lion replied without showing weakness, I will at least send you to the end. Whether it's you or that old mad dog, I will watch you all come to an end one by one. If you want to talk big, you have to look at the time. Shiki. Sengoku replied, do you still have the face to speak nonsense in front of me when you were defeated by a little devil pirate? Don't you feel ashamed? Shiki. The Golden Lion of the Year has been reduced to being defeated by a junior pirate and used as a piece the government's bargaining chip. Shiki, don't you feel like you've lost your face? What nonsense are you talking about? Sengoku. Golden Lion replied with a smile, I'm not invincible either, isn't it normal to be defeated? The little devils today are amazing. As for being used as a bargaining chip by this little devil, there is no problem. If the battle is lost, what else can I say? The winner controls everything, and the rules of the sea have always been like this. Quote. HMPH, go ahead, I have no interest in the whining of a loser. Sengoku obviously didn't mean to talk nonsense with Golden Lion. After all, he is the Marine Marshal, so he really has nothing to say about a pirate. Golden Lion, you only need to know one thing, Impel Down will be in once open for you. Stop thinking about being able to get out of there again. Jia ha 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 ha. Golden Lion laughed, it's impossible to say. Sengoku, things are changing, who knows what will happen next. Then, Mr. Sengoku. The phone bug, the two old men's reminiscences are almost here, and they are nothing more than mocking each other. Shichibukai has no place. Sengoku answered bluntly like this. Apparently Gorosei, 5 elders directly appointed Vlad as the new Shichibukai without consulting him, which made him very angry. Such anger cannot be released to Gorosei, 5 elders. Vlad obviously it is a good top package object. Hey, that means that there can't be something like Hachiwahai and Juwahai. Vlad looked troubled. Are you a fool? Pirates. Sengoku replied, Shichibukai is one of the 3 major forces that maintain the balance of the world, and an important force that maintains the balance of power between the Marine headquarters and the 4 emperors in the New World. 7 is the limit. Whether it's us Marine or the pirates' 4 emperors, there is no tolerance for so-called legitimate pirates like Shichibukai. Pirates, please clarify this to me. Shichibukai is also a pirate to us, and it is also the scum that we want to annihilate directly. Do you think we'll add more people to such an abominable existence? Sengoku unconcernedly expressed his dissatisfaction with the Shichibukai system. This is nothing special. Almost all Marines don't have a good impression of the Shichibukai system. These big pirates in legal clothes will not be the vanguard of justice. So, is the 7 wuhai already the limit of tolerance for both sides? Vlad looked helpless. This is really, it makes people feel a little troublesome. Understood. Pirate, we have no more space for you. Sengoku summed it up this way. But would it be easy for the government and Marine to remove a Shichibukai? Vlad said so. Oh. Sengoku sneered. After all, it's just a pirate's level. If the government removes a Shichibukai for no reason, do you need me to explain it to you bit by bit? Shichibukai is removed for no reason without any reason. Then this organization to balance the Marine headquarters and the 4 emperors of pirates will die out. Those heroes on the sea will not tolerate their titles being so easily removed. Remove. Understood. So, I have to pull a Shichibukai off the horse, right? Or, let him quit Shichibukai voluntarily, right? Vlad smiled, because there is no place left for me, I have to find a place myself, right? Isn't that a very simple reason? What you want to do is your business. Sengoku's attitude can be seen as a default. Shichibukai has no place, but if someone really gives up Shichibukai's place, then it doesn't matter if you are given this place. Woo ha 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 ha, isn't this very simple? Vlad smiled, isn't it very simple? Just go and pull a guy off the horse, what a simple thing. Wait, Mr. Sengoku, in a few days, someone will voluntarily give up their Shichibukai identity. Vlad said so. As you like. Of course, Sengoku knew that it would be easy to pull a Shichibukai down with Vlad's strength. Besides, this man who has been approved by the Gorosei, 5 elders, is not something he can stop him from becoming a Shichibukai, even if he it's the same with Marshal Marine, after all, it's just a violent agency of the government. But Sengoku doesn't mind adding some trouble to the pirate he hates. Got it, Mr. Sengoku. Vlad smiled. I already have a goal in my heart, and soon I will let him honestly give up his position to Lao Su. Then, Golden Lion. Sengoku didn't ask who Vlad's target was. He knew that Vlad was not an idiot, and of course he couldn't pick the wrong target. Please wait a moment for this. Vlad smiled. Only when our deal is completed can we hand over Senior Golden Lion to you. Humph. Click. Sengoku snorted coldly and hung up the phone. Jia ha 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 ha. Golden Lion laughed loudly. Did you use Lao Su as a bargaining chip? Boy, that's what you said to help Lao Su. That's right. Vlad didn't want to hide it either. Only a big man like Senior Golden Lion can I be sure to get the government's approval. Interesting, interesting. Golden Lion didn't show the slightest anger, and asked with great interest, you kid is not the kind of man who will be subservient to the government. You have your own plans, right? Well, who knows? Vlad smiled. Then, boy, that unlucky bastard. Golden Lion didn't care either. Who is that Shichibukai you're targeting? Ah. Vlad breathed a sigh of relief. He, s an otaku. Chapter 192 Gecko Moria. In the first half of the Great Route, the sea area called Paradise is a sea area full of mystery. The sea area known by the world as the Cemetery of Pirates has swallowed many ambitious and adventurers who went out to sea to pursue their dreams. For people from all over the world, the Great Route is a real hell-like place, a real purgatory where only the strong can survive, but even a place like Paradise, even for those who are active in this sea area for the pirates, there is also a place where the smell changes. The Devil's Triangle is one of them. The sea area shrouded in thick fog all year round has always been an insurmountable challenge for all navigators. Shipwrecks, passing through such an area of water, are not a pleasant experience for any ship. This is the past, and now, the notoriety here has further increased. The foggy sea area that was only hindering the passages like some demons have suddenly entered, and suddenly it has become a life-devouring demon sea area. Every year more than 100 ships are missing here, and this is only recorded, and it is not known how many pirate ships there are. This happened about 9 years ago. Gradually, this place has become a forbidden place for boats to pass by word of mouth, and the reputation is showing a tendency to spread further. Unless necessary, no more boats will enter this place. Those who come to the sea to try their luck, and those who sail on the sea, cherish their lives very much. But it is such a place that is forbidden to pirates, and now there is indeed a ship coming here, a big ship sailing in the sky. Wow, it's really thick fog. At an altitude of 1,000 meters above the sea, a large ship floated quietly. A beautiful woman was lying on the side of the ship, looking at the inexorable mist floating in the sea below, and said curiously, "This is the place. Is it the legendary Devil Sea?" "This is it, the Devil's Triangle." Vlad sat on the head of the bow and smiled, "Our destination." "Captain, is there really a Shichibukai here?" the chef asked. "Isn't that of course?" Vlad smiled, "When did I tell a lie? This is indeed our destination. Our destination is here." Vlad's destination is here. Of course, he knows why the ship has disappeared in the past few years. Although it is not really a demon, it is not too bad. Because this sea area is indeed occupied by a group of people, but it is not a demon, but a group of pirates, a group of legitimate pirates. The captain's name is Gecko Moria, one of the King Shichibukai. Of course that's Vlad's goal. As the saying goes, persimmons have to be soft. Although he decided to pull a Shichibukai off his horse, Vlad certainly wouldn't be stupid enough to go to the trouble of looking for Hawkeye, and he wasn't really bored, like Gecko Moria. Clearly, isn't it a suitable target to have someone who is easy to bully? "Hey, Enel, did you find it?" Vlad shouted. Enel leaned against the cabin at the stern of the boat as usual, one after the other with Vlad, and he had a few bottles of wine in his hand, which of course was what Vlad gave him this time. This man is the kind of person who doesn't help without getting paid. Like Enel is not used properly, God will definitely not watch it. Vlad is not the type that wastes resources. Making the best use of everything is Vlad's consistent view. Stop giving this god nonsense. Enel is also very impatient. Enel, who is not drunk, has never been a good talker. Even if he is talking to Vlad, who has completely defeated him, Enel never thinks that he has never lost as a god. The fact that this god can help you is already a thing worthy of your gratitude. Enel's tone of voice was very dissatisfied. Show respect to this god. So what? Vlad shouted. So has the great god Enel found our goal? Could it be that the all-knowing and almighty god can't find a single person? Yeah, it's so disappointing. Yeah, haha. You are so brave. Fire dragon. Enel gritted his teeth. Well. Like a flash of light in his head, Enel's wide-ranging radar-like observation hockey suddenly heard something. What? Found it. Vlad jumped directly to the stern, and landed lightly on the side of the boat, facing Enel. Well, who knows? Enel raised his eyebrows and said so. I am adding 2 bottles. Vlad raised 2 fingers and said so. Found it. Enel's face changed instantly, very serious. He stretched out his right hand and pointed to one side, on that side. Oh, over there. Vlad laughed. Maid, turn the rudder. Wine. Enel reminded. Quote. Vlad was speechless. Dash. Almost no one knows that there is a huge ship floating in the Devil's Triangle waters. Compared with this ship, Vlad's love ship, the Platinum Drag, is like a small sailboard, completely incomparable. This is a big ship like an island, and I am afraid that only going Emperor's Gurun Tesolo can be compared with this ship. This ship is the main reason for the disappearance of ships in the Devil's Triangle in the past 10 years. It is called the Terror Bark, and its captain is Gecko Moria, one of the Shichibukai. On a terrifying bark as huge as an island, a group of pirates who accidentally broke in encountered the most terrifying thing in their life. Captain. The snot and tears of a few pirates who were bound like caterpillars were completely uncontrollable, and the bottomless fear had completely seized their hearts. Damn, who are you? The whine of these pirates is simply the most interesting concoction in the eyes of onlookers. Ha 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 ha, it's so pitiful. The man with the round hat on his head and the mouth like a lion laughed. Do you know that you still don't understand what happened? Hey. Strange laughter came from a girl's mouth, even in the gloomy castle with a small pink umbrella, followed by a teddy bear-like thing. You don't even know Moria-sama. Quote. Hey. The man who looked like a ball laughed frantically. Every time I see such a scene, I get excited. Lord Moria, what a great power. He. With a tall and fat body, the legendary demon-like appearance, holding a pair of large scissors in his hand, he looked at the pirate captain who was exposed to the intense spotlight in front of him. A long shadow was drawn to the ground. Named Gecko Moria smiled, his eyes full of malice. Your shadow, I accept it. Moria pulled her hand to the ground, pulling up the pirate's shadow. This, what is this? The pirate captain was already stunned. Black he. Moria smiled like that. That is this time. Justice from heaven. Boom. The roof burst open. Chapter 193 Otaku and Fire Dragon. The Horror Bark, a real ghost-like place, the huge ship occupied by the King Shichibukai, Gecko Moria, is filled with zombies created by his own abilities. Normal people are just the sight of being scared to death is just a commonplace thing here. X23 US. Com updates fastest. The Dragon Man of the Fire Dragon flew over the sky, and the place shrouded in thick fog was the most suitable location for a horror movie. It's a very bad taste, and I deliberately created such a terrifying holy place. Oh, this is a zombie. Vlad soared in the sky, looking at the tattered and infiltrating zombies below. He said with great interest, the corpse that was originally dead, but moved again under the drive of Moria's ability. When he got up, he even had the power to think, which was really amazing. Can the corpse be resurrected? This is the power that Moria's shadow fruit gives him. Almost already, almost already. Is it comparable to that mad woman's soul fruit? Vlad thought so. Hey, Moria, worthy of the man who once fought Kaido for hegemony. Well, it seems to be here. Vlad floated above the huge castle, smiling with his arms crossed his chest. Since you have chosen to degenerate, don't blame me for cutting you. This is it. Justice from heaven. Vlad laughed and fell from the sky. Dash 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 dash. Boom. The interior of the dim castle was suddenly filled with smoke, and the visibility was instantly reduced to a minimum. What? Moria, who is different from ordinary people in both appearance and size, looked a little panicked. The fat body slowly took 2 steps back, and the shadow of the pirate captain in his hand also loosened unconsciously, and the shadow retracted back to that beneath the unlucky pirate captain. Has anyone invaded? Princess Mononoke Corona said this. She did hear the man's voice just now, and she still laughed very proudly. Is it the remnant of this group of pirates? The lion-like man Absalom said, seeing the fate of his comrades, he dared to come here to seek death without thinking about running away. Really, what arrogant guys. Pirates. Pirates indeed. A man's voice came from the smoke, but I don't know those losers. Is it really an intruder? Boom. Just moving will make a loud noise. Moria is a real fat man, and his obese body can't tell the shadow of the West Blue hero. How dare you come to trouble me, Gecko Moria, one of the king's Shichibukai. Moria, holding large scissors, shouted, who are you? Sign up. Me. Woo. A gust of wind swept across the dimly lit castle hall, the thick smoke was blown away, and the fiery red figure leaped out, clearly showing in front of Moria and his 3 weirdos. Who the hell am I? Vlad smiled like this, his size slowly shrinking, and he returned to his human form. He stood leisurely, looking at the weakest Shichibukai, who was almost undisputed in front of him. Sarah, who knows? What a kid. Moria looked at Vlad condescendingly, with an obvious mocking expression on the pale demon-like face. Moria, who is 49 years old, is arguably the oldest member of Shichibukai. Judging by his age, it seems that it is not unreasonable to call the 22-year-old Vlad a kid. Ah, that's the name again. Vlad looked unhappy. Why do people of a certain age like to call others a kid? Who the hell are you guy? Moria said so. Looks a little familiar. Moria-sama. Named Absalom shouted in panic. This man. He is that fire dragon. That fire dragon pirate captain, the big pirate with a bounty of 750 million, Fire Dragon Vlad. Fire Dragon. Moria looked at her terrified subordinates, then turned to look at Vlad, who was a little surprised. Vlad. Oh. Vlad was inexplicably surprised. He didn't expect that there was someone who knew the goods. He thought he was going to pretend to be an unnatural force. Unexpectedly, there was still a qualified shocked crowd here. Do you actually know me? Are you a good boy? You know me. The man named Fire Dragon. Vlad smiled like this. It's decided. When I beat you later, I'll try to be as light as possible. Fire Dragon Vlad. Great pirate with a bounty of 750 million. Moria's eyes gradually brightened. Isn't this the best material? If you use you as the material, Oz will definitely be able to explode with power beyond everyone's imagination, right? Hey Tilda, are you actually eyeing Lao Su? Vlad looked very interested. You still have vision. You know that Lao Su is a rare powerhouse. He. Moria's laughter was particularly permeating. I've been searching for so long and haven't found the right material. Didn't I think that the most suitable material was delivered to my door? Hey. It's really great. With Oz as the raw material, it wouldn't be impossible to get revenge on Kaido, would it? No. Moria's expression was extremely frenzied. It's impossible to be a one-piece king of pirates. Well, say whatever you want. Vlad was a little weak. If Kaido of the Beasts is really that weak, One Piece King of Pirates is really that easy to become, that's really great. Since he was destroyed by Kaido that year, the man known as the hero of West Blue has already died, and the rest is just this obese dead otaku who is obsessed with creating some bizarre figures and trying to achieve revenge with them. Yep, why did he suddenly feel no ill will towards Moria after thinking about it like that? Do you think it's too much to think about yourself? It's just an honest otaku who squatted at home and played with figurines. Isn't it too inhuman to call on him like this and take away the title of Shichibukai, one of the other's most important things? Vlad thought so. He. Boy. Moria didn't know what Vlad was thinking. Honestly, hand over your shadow. Quote. Call. Vlad sighed. I feel really good about myself. Forget it, let's fight first. Chapter 194 Shadow Mage. What to do with the child's total skin? Of course it's good to have a meal. Vlad believed in this view. Oh, I really don't understand you. Moria, do you really have no accurate prediction of your own strength? Vlad said so. Moria is really not strong. Maybe he was a rare big pirate when he fought with Kaido, but that was a long time ago. Fighting technique can be basically said to be negligible. Haki, naturally, needless to say. Can this man who is a little difficult to exercise really still inspire Haki? Vlad denies it. No matter how arrogant you are, please have a limit. Moria, has the name Shichibukai completely blinded you? Vlad sneered with his arms crossed his chest. Shut up. Don't insult Moria-sama. Even if you're a big pirate with a bounty of 750 million Baileys, but you're hit by this trick. Negative ghost. Moria hadn't spoken yet. His loyal little fan sister, a girl who respected him like a father, Princess Mononoke Perona, couldn't sit still. With a wave of her hands, two transparent ghosts flew directly towards Vlad. Oh, negative ghost. Vlad smiled and said, this thing can't be touched casually. Dangerous and dangerous. Having said that, Vlad just exerted his force lightly, and the whole person appeared behind Perona. Oh, luckily my speed is not slow. Fruit held by Princess Mononoke Perona is Paramesha's ghost fruit, which is also an extremely powerful fruit, capable of creating ghosts and turning her will into ghosts. The so-called negative ghost can turn the emotions of all people it passes through into negative. Although Vlad has not experienced it personally, he knows the effect. Even a man with a firm mind like Luffy, the pirate hunter Zoro, it will also be easily overturned, a genuine trick that must not be touched. Fortunately, Vlad didn't have to touch it either. Scary, so scary, Miss Ghost. Vlad now understands why Kizaru always likes to act like this. It almost scared me to death. What? Perona's eyes widened in panic, and her round eyes were now like light bulbs. Oh, don't move, Miss Ghost. Vlad said, move it, just. Kill you. A terrifying murderous aura pervaded her back. Perona couldn't move. It wasn't because of Vlad's words that she didn't dare to move, but her body was completely disobedient, and she couldn't move if she wanted to. Yes, this is a good baby. Vlad smiled with satisfaction. That's it, don't move. Quote. Speechless, Perona speechless, is this man a monster? Momentum alone can make a person's thoughts of resistance not a little bit. One of the dead. The lion-like man, Absalom, raised his right hand, and the bazooka, which was made transparent by his own transparent fruit, was ready to fire, and pointed directly at Vlad, who was standing beside him. Well. Absalom, who raised his hand, and said happily, are you going to attack me? I can't press it at all. The attacks that can be launched without hesitation at ordinary times can't be launched no matter what, and the attacks that can be launched easily are like there is a god of death blocking it. Every cell in the body is trembling. It will die. It will definitely die. As long as it is shot, it will definitely die. Is this the strength of the great pirate with a bounty of 750 million? Just a mediocre look can make me lose the power to shoot. Vlad looked at the last of the three weirdos. Hogbok was round like a ball. This man was obviously more knowledgeable than the other two of the three weirdos. He stepped back honestly, obviously not daring. Chase Vlad. Bang. A big foot sank deep into Hogbok's fat face, and Vlad kicked the necrophile who stole other people's bodies. Well, although I don't remember you very much, I still probably know that you are a nasty guy. Vlad said so. Shadow gun. I just said that it took a lot of time, but in fact, it took only a few words from Perona's attack to Vlad kicking the necrophile, and Moria hadn't done enough. Reacting to his subordinates, two of them were so frightened that they lost their will to fight, and one was directly kicked away. Although Moria is now a dead fat house, he likes to leave everything to others, but before being defeated by Kaido, this man is a guy who loves his partner extremely. Maybe it is because of love that he lost all his friends. It became like this after that, Moria guy. So, even now, Moria cares about her partner, so after seeing Hogbagu being blown away, this man launched an attack of course. Oh. Vlad jumped, and a pure black spear-like attack hit the ground, directly shattering the hard ground. It's so dangerous, I almost got bombed with no scum left. Vlad landed gently on the ground and smiled. It's amazing, this is Gecko Moria of Shichibukai under the king. You kid. Moria's anger is completely uncontrollable. Vlad is really a guy who is very good at provoking others. Shadow Mage. Moria roared like that. A strange thing happened. His original honest and quiet shadow on the ground suddenly twisted, then left the ground and turned into a shadow monster with the same shape as Moria. Hey, this is the shadow fruit. Vlad exclaimed, it's amazing. Boom. Shadow monster, or Moria's shadow mage, is very close in size to Moria's. With a height of more than 6 meters, it is considered a behemoth. It appeared in front of Vlad as if floating, and slapped the ground with a heavy paw. With countless rubble. One bone. Vlad's figure appeared in front of the shadow mage, and a heavy punch hit the shadow mage directly. Crack. The shadow mage scattered suddenly, turning into countless bat-like shadows. Idiot, how could a fist be useful to a shadow? Moria said so. Bang. The shadow mage who gathered behind Vlad once again slapped Vlad away. Chapter 195 Beat Up Otaku. Bang. Vlad's body was directly knocked into the air, crashing heavily into the wall, and with the collapse of the wall, he disappeared. Really powerful fruit ability, Moria, although his body is no longer as strong as it used to be, but the fruit ability is really sharp. Just this shadow mage is enough to be difficult enough to ignore the damage and gather at will. More troublesome is PFF'd. The gravel under the wall suddenly burst open, and a black shadow was almost invisible in the dimly lit hall, rushing out very quickly. Hey, that's pretty cool. Moria almost instantly, with a happy smile on his face. Although the weakest Shichibukai was almost gone, but he was able to take the position of Shichibukai himself. This man named Moria is still there are 2 brushes. Vlad's fist was raised high, and the power of all the power was converging on it. This was a punch that could directly blow Moria, the dead fat dog's head. Idiot, how could this possibly work? Moria smiled like this, Shadow Warrior. Moria's body suddenly changed, and a pitch-black color instantly enveloped him, as if it had completely turned into a shadow. PFF'd. Vlad's iron fist slammed heavily on Moria's body. Just like before, the shadow scattered directly, and it didn't play any role at all. This is the most difficult part of the shadow mage skill. Not only can it be released for attacking battles, but it can also directly exchange positions with the main body. The ability to move in space is the same, which can be said to be super troublesome. Because it is a shadow, it will not be harmed. At the same time, it can attack the enemy, gather and disperse at will, change its form at will, and exchange positions with the main body. His skills are too cheating. In Shichibukai, Moria is the one with the most perverted ability, right? After all, he can also create zombies by depriving others of their shadows, or even devour shadows to strengthen himself. Such an ability is too strong. Well, there is no doubt that I am a weak chicken now. Shadow-like bats were flying around. Moria's obese body appeared in the distance, and she smiled proudly. Hee hee, idiot, how could such an attack hurt me? Oh, what a troublesome ability. Vlad turned around gently, easily dodging the huge palm swung by the shadow mage, and said with some annoyance, "Can't you just stay where you are and let me fight?" Hee hee hee, boy, there is nothing you can do to resist, let's be honest and hand over your shadow. Moria laughed like this, and the shadow mage floated in front of Vlad with his laughter, and attacked. Ah, what a nasty trick, and there is no passion to punch to the flesh. Vlad's whip leg smashed the shadow mage into pieces, or turned into a shadow bat that filled the sky, and it didn't play any role at all. Shadow box. Moria shouted so much, but he didn't see any movement. The bats in the sky swarmed towards Vlad as if they were in heat, directly drowning Vlad's body in a black shadow. Hee hee hee, you can't run away now. Moria smiled like this. Vlad's previous position was covered by a box made of black shadows, and Vlad had been captured by that shadow box. Next. Moria smiled, and there were several sharp objects that were also made of shadows like gun heads protruding around the shadow box. Just die. Moria shouted so loudly. Bang! The fire soared into the sky, the white gold flame erupted directly, and the shadow box that was trapped by Vlad was directly blasted without the slightest resistance, and then the tall fiery red dragon man inside was revealed. This is this mythical dragon fruit. Moria exclaimed excitedly, what a beautiful power. Such a flame is so beautiful. It's great to have you do the Oz stuff. Well, my patience is almost exhausted. Vlad said, your ability is quite interesting, but that's the end of it. I really have no interest in continuing to play with you, me. It was very busy. Hee 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 hee. Moria smiled giggling, it just so happens that I want to get your shadow as soon as possible. I really can't wait. The shadow of the great pirate worth 750 million is paired with the thief Oz 400 years ago. What kind of monster can I create with my body? I'm PFF'd. Moria had no chance to speak, and Vlad's iron fist was already pounding on his chattering mouth. Boom! Moria's obese body flew out like a cannonball, hitting the wall directly and flying out of the castle. Woo! Vlad let out a slow sigh of relief. It's just a trashy fish, where did all the drama come from? Moria without breaking through Shadow Mage. Although this guy's body has long been sluggish, he is still very capable. Tough. However, as long as it is a trick that needs to be launched by itself, it takes time. There is no doubt about it. Therefore, it is very simple. All the tricks that require time to activate are as long as they are hit before they are activated. There will be no problem, it's only natural, since his Shadow Mage can help him resist the damage, just knock him out before Moria can activate his ability. Vlad just happened to be able to do such a thing. The flame advance in the form of the dragon can bring him amazing speed. It is not difficult to make a dead fat house like Moria not react. Matter. Clap la la la. In the wide square, Moria struggled to get up, shook the dust on her body, a huge fist mark on her face, blood spilled from his mouth, and his face was still unbelievable until now. Hey, I said, Moria. The fiery red dragon man flapped his wings and flew out of the castle, his hands hanging in the sky with his arms around his chest, and mockingly said, Anshin has been an otaku for more than 10 years, and he has already forgotten how to wave his fists. Chapter 196 Hokage. Although I didn't have much hope for this guy Moria from the beginning, but seeing that the man who once fought with Kaido has fallen to such a point, Vlad is also a little hated that iron is not steel, and after a failure, having fallen to this point, how can a man on the sea be so vulnerable? Although he thought so, Vlad also understood Moria's mental journey a little bit. Moria was hit a little harder. His cherished partner was killed, but he was powerless. Such a blow, it's really not small. When Luffy lost Ace, it was similar to Moria at that time, but Luffy and Jinbei were still waiting for him to solve it, and his friends were waiting for him, and Moria really had nothing. What a terrible word. Thinking about it this way, I suddenly feel sympathy for this guy. Bang! The plump body pierced the sky and fell heavily on one end of the square. Vlad slowly retracted his feet and smiled. Oh, didn't you shout so loudly just now? Why don't you even have the strength to resist now? Already. Sympathy is one thing, fighting is another. Vlad won't let his opponent down, no matter who is standing in front of him, as long as he dares to stand in front of him, then he must having prepared the consciousness of being beaten savagely. Mr. Vlad is not a good man and a woman. You guy. Moria's eyes twitched. At this time, the thought of grabbing Vlad and taking his shadow away was almost invisible. Even a fool should have noticed the difference in strength between the two sides at this time, and could not notice the other at all. S attack has been knocked out, and even Moria is too arrogant to think that he can defeat Vlad. What's the purpose? Moria said so. This is also natural. The reason why people take various actions, of course, has their own reasons. No one will come to trouble a person for no reason, especially that person is himself. At the time of Shichibukai, Moria was extremely convinced that if there was no special reason, the fire dragon would never come to trouble him. Why? Vlad smiled. The simple reason. Of course I'm eyeing you, Moria. Follow me. Moria stood up with a surprised expression. Do I have anything worth your attention? Hey, don't underestimate yourself, Moria, of course you have something worth looking after. Vlad encouraged Moria, don't look down on yourself, you're still great. Quote. Moria didn't speak. How should I answer at this time? Well, how do you say it? Vlad looked troubled. Actually, I don't want to come to you either. It's very troublesome. I came all the way here from East Blue, and I really have no choice. Who made Mr. Sengoku say that in order to become a Shichibukai, one has to be dismounted? It's too troublesome. Why can't there be Hachibukai and Jubukai? It's too rigid. Vlad said, but who makes them the ones who make the rules? If I want to get into someone else's system, I have to follow someone else's rules, right? That's reasonable and logical, right? Shichibukai. Moria nodded wisely. Is that so? Are you staring at my position? Well, yes. Vlad said, Shichibukai still has great convenience. A great idea must have such an identity to be able to realize it. Vlad didn't say that. He. Did a man like you choose to rely on the government? Moria laughed. Isn't there no way? Vlad smiled. The sea is so calm now. The New World has been completely divided by the 4 emperors, and a newbie pirate like me wants to make a name for itself in the New World, not only by challenging the 4 emperors. Is the road safe to walk? Forget it. That's too difficult. Isn't it courting death for me to challenge the 4 emperors now? Vlad said, so, before I have enough strength, I can't enter the New World so easily. My reputation is still quite high, right? Once I enter the New World, I will be targeted. Even if there is no idea of challenging the 4 emperors, those monsters will not allow a fire dragon that can threaten them by their side, right? So you decided to become Shichibukai. Moria said, if you don't enter the New World, you will definitely be targeted by Marine with your power, right? That's why you want to get the name of Shichibukai in order to avoid Marine's attack, right? Perhaps. Vlad said so. Then, Mr. Moria, could you please make an honest statement that you voluntarily relinquish your Shichibukai position? Vlad smiled, and the slightly smirking words contained complete aggressiveness. In another scene, it was almost like the kind of person who throws a stack of money on a security guard's face and says XXX is not your match. The same gentleman, full of sarcasm. He. Moria smiled like that. Boom. The ground suddenly burst open, and the spears gathered by the shadows broke through the bottom layer, rising like a forest, pointing directly at Vlad floating in the sky. Do you still have to fight? To be honest, this kind of trick is not threatening to Vlad. Vlad's observation hockey is not for display. It is really easy to detect Moria's attack, and then cooperate with his flamethrower state. At an astonishing speed. Bang! Vlad is like a shooting star, which can be called a red comet. He escaped from the forest-like shadow spear with extreme ease and rushed into Moria's eyes in an instant, smashing it with an iron fist. PFF'd. It completely exceeded Vlad's expectations. Moria was punched on the firm stomach, but Moria was not knocked out. It was very strange. Even though he spit out a large mouthful of blood, he stood firmly on the spot. Nothing like it used to be. Shadow Revolution. Without any warning, Moria's big hand slammed directly on Vlad, with a powerful force that was not at all commensurate with his fat figure. So it is. Vlad flapped his wings gently, and easily maintained his figure. Is it the opposite of my flame, the power of shadows? Vlad saw something wrong under Moria's feet. Chapter 197 Rolling. Shadow Revolution is also one of the moves of Gecko Moria's shadow fruit. The principle is that since the movement of the body can make the shadow move, then similarly, the movement of the shadow can also drive the movement of the body. One trick is such a principle, by manipulating the shadow to achieve the movement of the entity. Does that work too? Vlad was very surprised, and it is no wonder that Moria in the original work manipulated Oz's shadow by integrating his own shadow into Oz's shadow, and changed Oz's body by changing Oz's shadow. Since it is so complicated if you can do all the processes of your own, isn't it a simpler thing to manipulate your own shadow to change yourself? Can it be so? Boom! The ground shattered violently. Moria dashed in at a super high speed that didn't match his fat body at all, and slammed into Vlad with a fierce punch. Stronger than imagined, one punch hits a big hole on the ground. It's like a genius who has an idea. The fatness of the body and the weakness of the fighting technique can all be compensated by this ability. Vlad said, Moria is okay, he is fat, and his fighting technique is sloppy, but he can improve his fighting ability through this ability. If you are overweight, unresponsive, and weak in strength, then just leave your body alone and use your body as a marionette. The ability to make up for the lack of strength, and the ability to make up for the slow response of the body, this is really great. Hey, Moria, you really amaze me. Vlad said with a smile, isn't this a super powerful ability? Moria didn't say a word. Even though he used Shadow Revolution to greatly improve his abilities, he still couldn't even touch Vlad's clothes. He was not as happy as Vlad. Whoa! The whistling wind suddenly sounded. Moria's huge palm tore the air, and slapped Vlad fiercely. Bang! What? Moria's pupils shrank sharply, and he couldn't help being surprised by what was happening now. This time, Vlad did not dodge. The old god stopped in place and waited for Moria's attack to come. Then, when Moria was secretly happy and wanted to take the opportunity to kill Vlad, Vlad raised his hand. Moria's huge arm was directly grasped by Vlad's hand that did not lose much, and he couldn't move. The huge power was directly transmitted through the iron-like palm. Bang! Vlad turned around, and the slender and strong dragon tail smashed directly into Moria's face. A terrifying power burst out, and Moria was blasted away again from a distance. Boom! Moria crashed directly into a corner tower, and the tall building immediately began to collapse, instantly turning into rubble. Well, although it is indeed a very interesting trick, but Vlad said, but that's it. Moria, but that's it. Even if the ability can really make up for some of your shortcomings and deficiencies, it is not the power you can use skillfully. Such a fist can hit. Who will you hit? Shadow gathering place. Such a roar came from the ruins. Yeah, I still don't want to admit defeat. Vlad shook his head helplessly. This Moria is a guy who can't see the situation clearly, or should it be called persistence? An obvious change has taken place, and many black shadows suddenly flew in the sky, constantly pouring into the ruins. This is where the shadows gather. Vlad put his arms around his chest and said so. Boom! The ruins burst open, and the brand new Moria appeared in front of Vlad's eyes. The huge body in front of him, with a monster-like body, stretched muscles, and a ghost-like expression, was extremely terrifying. "Oh, that's amazing, Mr. Moria." Vlad laughed. "Fire dragon." Moria growled like this. Boom. Ground suddenly burst open. Moria's huge palm slammed heavily on the ground, and the hard ground split into a huge crack in an instant, and it continued to spread into the distance. The strength can be said to be amazing. "Oh, what a powerful blow." Vlad floated freely in the air, looking at the cracks that kept spreading, and smiled. "That's amazing, Moria." "Hey." The huge palms swept across the sky, and Moria was like a big fat man trying to catch the most nimble bird, constantly waving his thick arms, trying to knock Vlad down. Hey, no." Vlad fluttered his wings with ease, dodging Moria's attack with ease, his arms still clasped. "Who can you hit with such a trick?" Indeed, the shadow gathering place is a very powerful trick. Moria absorbs shadows through this trick to increase his own power. After swallowing hundreds of shadows, the power has become sensational. However, Moria is difficult to control such a strength. It's hard enough just to stay conscious, let alone hit observation hockey. Excellent, amazingly fast Vlad. Boom. 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 The gigantic monster was furious. The originally wide and flat plaza was shattered, and all that was left was devastation, pits, and cracks pervading this small place, and all the surrounding buildings collapsed, and nothing could survive Moria's madness. Intact. "Well, the destructive power is really amazing," Vlad said, however. "Isn't it about to make a fuss? Mad dog. Now, let me put the chains on you." Flame jet. White gold flames spewed out of Vlad's body, his body turned into a phantom, and instantly disappeared above the sky. PFF'd. Moria spewed a mouthful of blood, and Vlad flew in front of him at a speed he couldn't even notice, slamming him in the stomach with a punch. Woo. "No, don't go." Moria covered her mouth in a panic, along with the blood spurting out black shadows. "Hey, how dare you get distracted fighting with me?" Bang. Vlad flew into the sky, and a flying kick from the sky slammed into Moria's back. PFF'd. Moria's body straightened involuntarily, and a large number of shadows roared out. Hey. Vlad's figure flashed again and appeared in front of Moria. His right hand clenched his fist, which seemed to be wrapped in white light, dazzling and extraordinary. Dragon fist. Meteor falling. Boom. Chapter 198 Rala. A terrifying explosion roared in the sky, and the huge terrifying barks trembled under the terrifying momentum of Vlad's blow. Gugong. Named Absalom swallowed his saliva in disbelief and said with difficulty, "Is this the strength of the great pirate with a bounty of 750 million? Does a casual blow have such power?" Corona, who stood with him on the ruined ruins of the ruined castle, fell to the ground. She had never seen such a terrifying trick. Is this really a terrible thing that humans can reach? The wide square has almost disappeared, leaving only a huge depression, exuding strong heat, and a piece of charred black, witnessing the strong explosion that occurred in this place just now. Moria, who was completely charred, was lying in a pothole, his eyes rolled, and he had completely lost consciousness. Obviously, the attack just now made him completely unbearable. Shadow Revolution was indeed a very powerful move. It can make up for the shortcomings of the Moria fighting technique. However, such a skill cannot improve Moria's constitution. It is obviously impossible to resist Vlad's meteor fist. The terrifying shock wave spread, and almost all the surrounding buildings collapsed. There was no intact building at all. The buildings that Moria had worked so hard to build had basically collapsed. Woo. Vlad breathed a sigh of relief with some lingering fears. It's so dangerous, I almost killed Mr. Moria. Fortunately, there are still some numbers. Ouch, vomit. In the pothole, the man who was in the state of fainting suddenly began to struggle violently. The whole body was constantly twisted, and a lot of bulges suddenly appeared on the stomach, and it was constantly moving to the position of the throat, which looked extremely oozing. Oh! Vlad watched this somewhat terrifying scene with great interest, and smiled, because he is completely unconscious. Is his ability released? Well, such a scene is really interesting. As Vlad said, with Moria's complete defeat, Moria's powers were also disarmed, and the shadows he plundered began to riot. Wow 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 wow. Completely unconscious, Moria almost roared, and shadows flew into the sky like freedom fighters rejoicing in regaining their freedom. In the same way, shrouded in the fog, above the somewhat dim sky, countless shadows rushed up impatiently, hovering in the sky like a swarm of bats at dusk. Woo ha ha. What a rare sight to see. Vlad smiled like this, then go back to your master's side. Don't be robbed. As if I heard Vlad's voice, the shadows in the sky spread out in unison, like flying away in different directions, losing their shadows, losing their freedom, losing their sunshine, and their lives are shrouded in darkness. People, finally ushered in a new life on this day. Mr. Captain. Accompanied by these excited shouts, Miss Serena with a smile on her face trotted from far to near, and behind her was the old god who looked dismissive, but in fact his eyes were full of enthusiasm. The interested god Enel and the chef with a faint smile on the corner of his mouth. Oh, Miss Musician, Chef and God. Vlad changed back to human form and smiled. How? Did you have a good trip? This island is completely different from the normal island, isn't it? Awesome, right? When he arrived at the terror bark before, Vlad naturally wanted to have a good discussion with Moria, but his mates didn't want to follow the captain to abuse the vegetables. It was really boring, so in Vlad as a reminder, a sightseeing group consisting of chefs, musicians and god Enel embarked on a sightseeing tour on the ship full of zombies. As for the lady maid, who seemed to be dismissive of these terrifying monsters, volunteered stay on the boat and watch the boat. Well, great, those zombies are so funny. Serena said this, with a very excited smile on her face. It's very interesting that it's a corpse, but it can move. Quote. Vlad doesn't know what to say. What's so interesting about those ugly zombies with a terrifying breath all over their bodies? This girl's aesthetics seem to be a bit strange. Captain, we see zombies incapacitated. Chef said, shadows came out of them, and I knew the battle was over, and Moria's powers had been disarmed. So we rushed over immediately, really fast. Gecko Moria is Shichibukai after all, right? Ha! Vlad said, Shichibukai also needs to be divided into strong and weak. Moria is probably the most unsatisfactory Shichibukai. Don't talk about me, it's you or God who can settle him. Hey, Fire Dragon, are you taking this god as your subordinate again? Enel rolled his eyes and said in a very unfriendly tone, this god has no idea of helping you solve the problem. Yes, Lord God is not my subordinate. Vlad waved his hand in such a perfunctory way. You bastard. Electric lights began to flicker on Enel's body. What's going on here? Some panicked female voices came over from one side, looking at the ruins in front of them, not knowing what to say. Captain, that's Moria. A guy who followed the woman found Moria lying at the bottom of the pit and shouted in some panic. So, Moria was really defeated. The woman with pink hair, braided in two big braids, a strong figure, a big mouth, and two swords behind her back said, when we came over just now, all our shadows came back, so it seems that Moria he was indeed defeated. So, behind her, her little brother shouted, freedom, is freedom finally here? Finally, I don't have to be imprisoned on this dark ship anymore. Ha, little ones. Woman said with a smile, our adventure can finally start again. Hey, I said, can you really see me? Some lazy men's voices sounded, and Vlad said so helplessly. You. The woman finally saw Vlad and looked very surprised. Are you, Vlad? Hey, it's me, it's really, long time no see. Vlad smiled, Sister Lola. Chapter 199 Come to Me. The name of this sturdy, two-sword-carrying, pink-haired woman is Lola, Charlotte Lola, Vlad's biological sister, the 23rd daughter of the Charlotte family, a former chocolate minister, who she shares with Vlad. Of course it's been a long time. Vlad. Lola said in disbelief, why are you here? I just wanted to say this, why are you here? Vlad was a little annoyed. Didn't you tell me to be careful about Moria when you left? Why are you still in this place? Moria's place for 3 years as in the original work, with life and death in the hands of others. Of course, such an experience would not be very good. Rad naturally didn't want to see his sister treated like this. But I didn't expect it. I have already reminded it. Why does this guy still appear here? Lola looked a little ashamed. Although you said that, it's really not easy to get around the Devil's Triangle. So you just got caught by Moria. Vlad put his hand on his forehead, very speechless. Ha 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 ha. Laura nodded embarrassedly. Captain. The chef came over in surprise, looked at Lola, who was having a good time with Vlad, and asked strangely, do you know anyone? Of course. Vlad smiled, it's my sister. Sister. The chef's eyes widened. Is it the captain's sister? What was even more surprising was Serena. This woman trotted in front of Lola, looked up, down, left, and right, and couldn't see any resemblance to Vlad at all, really. Not at all. Even Enel at the back looked surprised, obviously unwilling to believe such a thing. Is that the captain's brother? The crew members of the Rolling Pirates who followed Lola were also in disbelief, never heard of it. Didn't I tell you? Lola also looked very surprised. Didn't I say I have brothers and sisters? Never. Her subordinates roared in unison. Vlad laughed. I really found a good group of friends. Sister Lola. Ha ha ha. Lola laughed very happily. She left the suffocating Charlotte family. Although she lost her power and support, she found her own partner in this sea. This is indeed a great thing for Lola. Hey, over there, isn't dead yet. Vlad turned his head and said indifferently. Yes, Lord Fire Dragon. Absalom and Perona, who were looked at coldly by Vlad, shuddered all over, and instantly straightened their bodies and responded loudly to Vlad's shout. Are there any other rooms in good condition here? Vlad said, Sister Lola and I can't just stand in the ruins and reminisce about the old days. Soon, in a room that was still intact in the terror bark, the two groups of the Fire Dragon Pirates and the Rolling Pirates began a friendly meeting. Well, that's great. Vlad held a plate of cake in his hand and praised loudly. It's great, Sister Laura. The chocolate cake you made is still as good as ever. No, it should be said that it is far more delicious than the past. Quote. A dessert like this, you'll feel like your whole body is on fire just by tasting it. Vlad commented, just one small bite feels like enough calories for the day. Great, of course, I'm not a dessert fan, I just need to add sugar. Lola sat across from Vlad with her arms crossed, smiling smugly. Of course it's delicious. Only in chocolate, I'm still very confident. But it really hasn't changed at all from the past. Vlad. Lola looked at her younger brother and smiled. It's exactly the same as when I was a child. Stop joking, Sister Lola, it's been different a long time ago. Vlad licked his plate and said, I'm not Charlotte Vlad now, my name is Ferdinando Vlad. Ferdinando. Vlad, you boy. Lola said in surprise, have you abandoned the Charlotte family name? Isn't that normal? Vlad asked rhetorically, does Sister Lola think I'll stay with the Charlotte family forever? That's right. Lola said clearly, at the time, I had no idea that Vlad, who was always honest and low-key, would actually help me escape from the world. Because there is no reason. Sister Lola. Vlad smiled and said, I have no reason not to help my sister who wants to find freedom to go to sea. If you want to go to sea, I really can't find a reason not to help you. And Sister Lola's chocolate cake, I really like it, so. Haha, Vlad, you bastard. Lola smiled. Is the so-called family like this? When you need help, you don't need a reason to lend a hand. By the way, Chi Feng, and Sister Chi Feng and Mr. Wu knew. Vlad replied, I was fine 2 years ago before I left IWC, but now, it's not very clear. 2 years ago. Vlad, did you leave the nations 2 years ago? Laura looked surprised. Yeah, that mad woman wanted me to marry an inexplicable woman. Vlad said, it's really annoying, just like Sister Lola, I don't want my life to be decided just like that. So you chose to leave? Laura asked. Well, I had a hard fight with Brother Snag and Katakuri. Woo ha ha. Vlad smiled, although he defeated Snug, he was beaten up by Katakuri brother. Vlad, did you actually beat Snug? Lola stood up in surprise. The name of Desert Four Generals is very popular in the New World. Even though Snug is recognized as the weakest crane tail of the 4 generals, his strength is beyond imagination. Lola, who had been captured by Moria before Germany left the nations, was naturally unaware of what had happened recently. That 4-star Snag. Hey, don't underestimate me. Sister Laura. Vlad said, I am now a big pirate with a bounty of 750 million, and I will soon become a Shichibukai, but I am no longer the little brother like the Invisible Man. 750 million. Shichibukai. Lola smiled, as expected of you, Vlad, have you already done this? Woo ha ha. So, Sister Lola. Vlad said, would you like to come to my side, and then we will kill the nations together. Chapter 200 West Blue Heroes. Kill back. All nations. Lola was stunned when she heard Vlad's words, where is the kingdom? One of the 4 emperors, Big Mom, the 10,000 kingdoms ruled by Charlotte Linlin, the residents of the Big Mom pirate group, one of the 4 emperor pirates, one of the most dangerous places in the New World. Even if you look at the whole world, the degree of terror is probably a rare place. Vlad, are you kidding me? Lola said, this joke is not funny at all. It's hard to get out of the world, and take a good risk on the sea, can't you sail well? Vlad. Why do you have to go back to that place? Why do you still have to go back to your mother's site? Laura stood up a little excitedly, with a hint of panic in her tone. Woo ha ha. This can't be done, Sister Lola, don't you want to go back and have a look? Uncle Wanu, Sister Kaifeng, and that 3-eyed monster, don't you want to go back and have a look? Vlad said, although we have left the world, there are still our relatives in that place. Sister Lola, no matter what you think, I want to go back and have a look anyway, and the only one is going back. Isn't the way to go back to the world and overthrow the rule of that mad woman? Vlad, you kid. Lola looked at Vlad in shock, and this was the realization that this idea was probably not her brother's temporary intention. Have you had such an idea long ago? Of course. Vlad smiled, isn't the current Wangwo too deformed? They are all family, but they were deprived of their lives by that crazy woman at will. Isn't this too ugly? Quote. Lola stared blankly at Vlad, who was chatting, and was speechless for a while. Well, it's okay, Sister Lola. Vlad said, it doesn't matter if you don't want to join me now, just wait and see, it won't be long before I destroy all nations, have a good time with our brothers and sisters. If, Vlad. Lola smiled, with a worn smile on her big face, if there is such a day, if we can really see that day. Kaifeng and Pudding will definitely be able to make the best cake in the world. Yes, for now, just look forward to it, Vlad. Ah. Vlad laughed loudly, then get ready. Hone your skills, Sister Lola. At that time, if I fail to pass in time, I will not be so easily satisfied. Just wait and see. Laura laughed. Hey, Captain, haven't you finished yet? The drunken maid pushed the gate of opening, and said a little unhappily, the banquet is half over. Isn't the conversation between your siblings over yet? Woo ha ha ha. Exactly, it's over. Vlad put his arms around his sister's shoulders. It's time for a happy banquet. Banquet banquet. Quote. Lola laughed loudly. After 2 years, she finally got her freedom, and then she reunited after a long time to have a banquet with her brother. This situation couldn't be more wonderful. 2 overlapping joys give birth to more joy. Tonight is destined to be the happiest night ever. Vlad pushed open the door of the hall, and there was a commotion. Hey, that's my meat. Hey, it's mine already, you can have a good drink. Hey, is this not going to work? Ha ha ha, weak chicken, this guy. Hey, Mr. God, what do you want to do? Yeah ha ha ha, I'll let you guys take a look at this tonight, God's attitude. Vlad pushed gate of opening and saw the man standing on the table dancing gracefully, his bare upper body exuding strength and beauty. Ooh better. Ha ha ha, Enno has so much fun when he's drunk. Gia ha 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 ha, this thunder and lightning kid is really interesting. Vlad heard the chef say that. Mr. God is awesome. Ah ha ha ha, little ones. Vlad laughed, the banquet has just begun. Dash 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 dash. Compared with the lively banquet held by the Fire Dragon Pirates and the Rolling Pirates, the guys in the Devil's Dhow were not so relaxed. The vague consciousness began to gradually wake up, and the most obvious touch was the cold ground, and there was nothing like the soft big bed that usually wakes up. Then the feeling that came up was pain. The pain was twitching all over the body. It was so clear that I actually had a feeling that I was dreaming. After all, I haven't been hurt for a long time, let alone this. Of pain. After that, the more obvious feeling is weakness. There is no strength in the whole body, and I can't even move. This feeling is sea stone, right? Ah, you're finally awake. Lord Moria. In the same room as Moria, there are 2 of his subordinates, Princess Mononoke, Perona, and Absalom, the Invisible Man. They are also huddled in the corner, and it is difficult for anyone to move. The abilities of these 2 guys are a bit difficult. It's not good to lock it up with sea stone. So even if they saw Moria wake up, the 2 guys couldn't really do anything more than a weak verbal welcome. Absalom and Perona. Moria tried to sit up, but the fat body wasn't something he could hold up in his weak condition. Complete failure. Moria said this, with a slow anger in her tone, being caught by such a kid. Only you. Where's the guy at Hogbuck? Hogbag. Perona's mood was a little low. It seems that he didn't survive that guy's attack. Really? Moria's tone was unpredictable. Did you just die like this? Chop. What is alive is indeed unreliable. Don't say that. The man's voice accompanied the tempting aroma of food from far to near. Isn't this guy alive and well? Vlad held a tray with a large amount of food in one hand, kicked open the door, held a fat body in the other hand, and threw the fat man in his hand to the ground. The head was bleeding, and the whole body looked like there were many strange fractures. Although it was not as good as Vlad said, the still undulating chest showed that this guy was not dead yet. Fire Dragon, you boy. Moria looked at Vlad's face and gritted her teeth. Are you here to mock me? I'm not that boring. Vlad smiled. I'm just more interested in the West Blue heroes back then.